Podcast. Johnny Beane podcast. This is a podcast. That's the truth. Did you know that?
I did know that. I was aware of that. Johnny
That,
Beane.
I mean, that's really what this whole thing is about is podcasting, because that really is the biggest thing in the world, and it's just going to get more and more. Everybody's gonna want it, gonna want it,
and you're going to get millions of listens. What do you call it when somebody goes on the podcast and listens to it? Is that a hit? Is that a view? Or is it called a listen?
Technically it's a listen, but it's considered a view, I guess.
Nice.
I guess.
Which, although you can't see it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though, is here on YouTube and on Facebook, this is the visual version of the podcast. That's really what these are. Like visually, you're looking at us. You might think my background's blurry.
It does look a little bit different.
Little different. It's a new feature, brand new feature. Let me know in the comments over there or on replay down there if you think it's cool. Let me know. Actually, I should probably make a what do you call it? A poll. Maybe I'll do that.
Is that a backpack on the couch, or like did a chicken come in or something?
That's my backpack.
Black rooster.
That's what that is. Yeah, that's my backpack. I have a laptop over here that it's really old. It's like 12 years old, so it sucks. So it literally took half an hour for me to get it working today, so I could get into it and get into some of the stuff that I need.
Time well spent.
But yeah, the backpack, that laptop lives in that backpack. So that's what that is.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, basically. Oh, whoa.
False flag already. Changing some color.
False flag. There you are, man. Thank you so much. False flag. Where are we? There we go. False flag. Thank you so much. Thank you. You just got a shout out. Wow, you just got the shout out on Twitter.
Okay.
And Sheila Bridges just liked the tweet, just like that. Thank you guys. Thank you. What was I saying? Basically, okay, if we're friends on Facebook, okay, I just passed 5K friends, which is the limit. You can't have any more. Okay.
So now you know what you got to do is you got to go through and delete the people that you don't like.
That's what I've been doing. Well, it's more like the people that don't like me. I've been getting rid of, but I have another Facebook account. So where people can go, false flag. Thoughts on Toto? That was a nice dog. What was
Toto?
It called a terrier, right? Anyway, so what I'm doing is I have another Facebook account, and if you want to add me on Facebook, add me to the other account, John E. Beane, Bean.
John E. Beane.
JOHN, middle initial E, and then BEAN. That's the Facebook account you want to add me on, because the other one's full. I can't add any more people. I'm having to kick people out of there, so I can add other people that actually want in. I've been having to do that a lot recently. But that's why the laptop is sitting there. That's why the backpack is over there. And thoughts on Toto? The dog is awesome. The band, if it's talking about the band is awesome.
Steve Lukather. They call him Luke. But,
what's his name?
Great. Yeah, Steve Lukather. Steve Lukather. And
yes,
great guitar player. I have a cool story. Back when that first album came out that had Hold the Line,
I
went to my cousin's house. And so I was, I was 12 or something. I don't know how old I was, but my cousin had that record. And I was up there with my parents, and I grabbed that record and I stuck it in the trunk or behind the seat or under the seat of our family car. I was a little kid, and I swiped that record from my cousin. And it's a good record. As the years go by, you start to appreciate it a little bit more. But it was cool enough back in 1976 that I went ahead and swiped it from my cousin. Because what's the worst thing that could happen? You know, you couldn't go to prison for that or anything. Your mom would yell at you or something. I've never got in trouble for that. But I did actually steal that little thing as a kid from my cousin. And I like the piano playing in it. And then the Rosanna and, you know, Toto wouldn't be talked about nearly as much as they are currently if it wasn't for Weezer making huge hit songs out of those two songs, Africa and Rosanna.
Redoing those. And their versions are great.
They really are.
They're, I mean, they sound, I mean, they're just incredible.
And Steve has been in the studio with so many bands, probably over 100 bands where he's probably been on 200-300 albums. Everything from,
I'm sure it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think he did some of the, what was the one guy named, the guy from, oh shoot, I'm going to forget now what that guy's name is.
What's the song?
The guy that sang Up All Night. And the guy that, hello, is it you waiting for? Who is that guy? The black guy that was in,
let's ask the chat. I know who you're talking about. He's on American Idol. Ask the
Yeah.
chat. The chat will tell you who that is. Always ask the chat. Hey, Mark E. Metal Jr. Let me just before anybody's asking, John Mancuda, he wasn't here last week. He's not here this week because he's filming a movie. He's on location somewhere in Hollywood filming the next huge Hollywood blockbuster.
And he's super bitchy. Oh yeah, everybody knows Lionel Richie.
So he won't be here this week. Probably he'll be back next week. But yes, there you go. That's right.
Have you heard anything else about the movie that he's in? How's everything going with that? They're just working 12-hour days and super busy.
Probably more hours than that. I mean, I think he gets up at like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And then really quickly, we're going to take a call.
All right.
Look at this.
You can text Johnny Beane at 415-952.
Just want to tell Dane that Running with the Night, Lionel Richie Running with the Night.
Running with the Night.
Solo, Steve Lukather.
Yes.
And Toto also played the music on Thriller. The whole Thriller album.
Thriller.
Like the hired guns.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That was basically a Toto record with Michael Jackson singing.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. I mean, Lukather wrote Beat It. I mean, although Eddie did the solo. I mean, it's a pretty amazing track if you think about it. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. They had a great bass player, great drummer.
Have a good show. Take care.
False Flag, thank you so much for all your continued support, man.
What's the name of the drummer in Toto?
Thank you, man. Again, ask the chat. Always ask the chat. See, Dane, we could just sit here like this for the next couple hours and just be like, which is better, crunchy or what kind of peanut butter is better, crunchy or the other one? And the chat will tell you.
There was a guy in Steely Dan that did the Asia album, and they did what they call, hey, man, I'm closed. I'm closed. I'm closed. There was a guy in Steely Dan.
Was that him?
No, it's this neighborhood bum that walks by. I need to lock my door. I'm super lucky he didn't come in.
Oh, so that was Stealing Dan.
Yeah, there was a but I think they called it the Bernie Shuffle. And it was a drum beat on the Steely Dan song. And you guys in the chat will know who I'm talking about. But the drummer, Jeff, whatever his name was in Toto, pretty much had that same little shuffle beat.
It was Jeff Porcaro. I think I don't think that's the spelling, but
Hold on, let me lock my door.
Uh-oh. Man, I didn't know Mesa was so dangerous. While he's doing that, let me say hello to executive producers here on Johnny Beane TV YouTube channel. By the way, it's November 30th, 2021. It's about 8:19 p.m. Eastern, 6:19 where Dane is, and 5:19 where I am. Executive producers here on Johnny Beane TV are Dave Ennis, Vinyl Freak 5150, Mike Neese. Mike, I got some packages here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your donation earlier too, man. Music Therapy Laz, great seeing you yesterday. Majestic PB and J Cat, Wayno, False Flag, great talking to you on the phone a second ago. Andy Carson, Michael B. Arhabs, the Chad, Lenny Lou and Mary, James Gum, John Moronic, Stephen Franklin, Michael Smith, the Captain, Thomas Santiago, Joe Christian, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, and Steve Carmichael. That's the top tier of channel membership here on Johnny Beane TV YouTube channel. If you'd like to become a channel member, click that join button right below the 24 thumbs ups currently. Thank you so much, you guys. And as you saw just moments ago, any super chat changes the color of my lights. So if you look behind me, you got to put your glasses on. Put your glass.
That still won't help.
Yeah, it's a new feature. It's a brand new feature here at StreamYard. It simulates a super expensive camera, which I do not have. But anyway, the colors are changing in the guitar more. Thank you again to False Flag. Any super chats will change those colors. We're live on Facebook where we have Facebook stars. That's kind of like a super chat over in the Johnny Beane TV Facebook page. We're live basically everywhere on Facebook. The Van Halen group, 63,000 members, EVH Gear Live group and page, Johnny Beane personal page where I'm kicking the weirdos off. Join my other Facebook page, John, John, middle initial E, last name Bean. There we go. And Dane, we have a special guest.
Awesome.
Here we go. All the way from down the street. Oh, crap. Hang on. You hear him every morning on the radio. Wrong one again. Well, hey, it's Neanderthal.
Amazing. Amazing. I don't understand why you need a camera effect that makes your camera look super expensive. You could just buy a camera that works. I mean,
that's the effect that they have. I've been watching a lot of football lately. And so when some guy scores a touchdown, they put a camera like that, they run up to him, and that's the effect where it's all blurry and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's great. You promote a thing about changing the color of the lights in the guitar more, yet you can't see the fucking guitar more.
Oh, I can see them. It's magic.
It is magic. It's magic. I decided to jump in a little bit late. I apologize, but I have dog issues. For whatever reason, Ace is being a pain in the ass today, so I had to put him in the crate for a little while just to calm him down. Not as a punishment, because you don't create a dog for punishment. But I took him for a nice walk, and then now I'm trying to be as quiet as possible because I usually leave the radio on when I'm at work or if the house is empty, and that's a rare occasion.
Your radio?
Yeah.
With your voice? So that they know, so that they hear something comfortable. So now if he hears me just talking in the other room, it's like he thinks the radio's on. Oh, that's awesome.
Except I'm not playing the same 12 classic rock songs every morning. By the way, we joke about that, but the reality is I can play those same 12 classic rock songs every day for the next 30 years. And people will be like, hey, man, can you play those same 12 classic rock songs you've been playing for the past 30 years?
Here they are. Stairway to Heaven.
Not as much as you would think.
Rock and roll.
Hotel California.
Less than it used to be.
No, I heard the commercial today. For what? You guys have a new commercial, and they listed him off.
What, a TV commercial?
No, a radio spot. I was listening to KSLX today. There's a
Huh,
new spot.
Well, that's a
and
change.
it
That's a
lists
change.
off,
Thanks for the support.
the other one was Sweet Child of Mine. And it said something about classic radio.
The ones that you hear, believe it or not, more than you would think, Paul McCartney and Guns N' Roses versions of Live and Let Die, those get played a lot by a lot of radio stations. For whatever reason, they come back very big. You're My Best Friend from Queen, for whatever reason, comes on a lot. Like, you hear that song a lot. Recently, Alone from Heart, which is a strange one. Because
Today
I don't think
heard
that was a major hit to begin with, but that has come back recently as sort of a song people really dig.
Actually, it's
today,
probably
driving home.
it's probably Nancy and Ann both requesting that song.
It's possible, yeah.
Because they're not together anymore and they're both alone.
Maybe. It's very possible.
Today I heard Come Together. And here's what's cool about music. And I was thinking about this driving down the freeway because I had to take my girlfriend to a doctor's appointment today. So I actually had to close the store for like an hour and a half to do this. And I was really annoyed by it. But driving back, we heard Come Together by Aerosmith. And so that 3.5 minutes lets you think about, ooh, killer, Aerosmith. Man, Joe Perry, I wonder how he's feeling. He sounds great in this song. Oh yeah, and I remember the album this was off. Boy, that was so cheesy. I wonder if John Lennon ever heard their version of this song. And it gives you 3.5 minutes to think about those people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the song, but the people that created the song.
I'm sure Lennon heard it because he had to sign off on it.
Yeah, they certainly saw that terrible Sgt. Pepper movie, which is where that song comes from originally.
But Come
It's not
Together
on, it's not on any
highlight.
Aerosmith album. It's on their greatest hits record, and
I fell asleep during that movie.
There's two different versions of it. There's the version that's on the bad movie, the Sgt. Pepper movie, and then there's the version that ended up on the greatest hits. And a lot like what do you call it? Mob Rules. The two versions are different. You know what I mean? Like, the version of Mob Rules that's on the heavy metal soundtrack, to me, is better than the version that's on the album Mob Rules. It's heavier. It's more raw. So, yeah, I mean, there were a lot of bands. It's funny because we've talked about this a lot of times about, especially with this being allegedly about 80s metal. The bands back then in the 70s and 80s, to a lesser degree, as the decade went on, the dilution happened a little bit more. But demos from bands like Kiss and Aerosmith, both of whom released demos for Record Store Day last week. Demos from bands like that and Van Halen and Led Zeppelin are way, way more complete, and almost the bar of performance and quality is higher than demos that came later. And it's almost like they realized, hey, we have to compete with bands like Fleetwood Mac and Boston and Styx and the Eagles and these Genesis and Yes and these amazing bands. And in order to be considered amongst those bands, to be playing with those bands, we'd better put out a product that's every bit as polished as that.
Because those bands, their demos ended up being their records.
A lot of them,
because they would go into the studio and write while they're recording.
Yeah, like Boston. Tom Scholz from Boston. The first album from Boston, which is a landmark record, one of the greatest rock records in the history of recorded music, and from a production standpoint, still holds up today. If you listen to the ride cymbal at the beginning of Foreplay a Long Time, it is crystal clear. That was recorded back in 1974, 75. Tom Scholz did all of that by himself, kind of like, Trent Reznor does with 9 Inch Nails and Steven Wilson does with Porcupine Tree. All of what you hear on the first Boston album is pretty much demos that Tom Schultz did in his basement. When he got signed, Epic Records said, hey, we need to take this album, bring it into a studio and re-record it, remaster it, and make it sound more the way we want it to sound. And Tom Schultz says, you can't do it. So it can't be done because the equipment that I recorded it on is so expansive and expensive, and we couldn't recreate that sound in your studios. It would be cost prohibitive. And so
he's like, I invented all the equipment.
Yes.
And
and you guys don't have it. You can't replicate what I've done on this. The only people that were able to replicate Boston's sound the way Boston did was Kansas on Carry On Wayward Son. Those guitars are absolutely mimicking Boston's first album. You know what I mean? There are only a few albums that sound like that. And Kansas and Boston were the two that had that super guitar sound. And then later on, Phil Collin from Def Leppard would use a lot of Rockman equipment. And there goes Dan going to get the Rockman he'll never sell.
I have toys.
Yeah, but you don't use it. It just sits there.
That's okay. How old is this thing?
That is easily almost 50 years old, 40-something years old.
Okay, so you want me to plug it in every day and mess around with it, or you want me to keep it in a plastic baggie and take good care of it?
No, that's the whole point of it, is to play it. You know, it's not
This
a work
thing
of art.
sounds like Def Leppard, his whole Hysteria album.
Yeah.
The entire Hysteria album. I want to record my band using this thing, but I don't think the guitar player will go for it.
You know, it's surprising that sound, that little Rockman still gets a huge sound.
Super cool.
Yeah. And the chorus, the chorus that Tom Schultz has dialed in for those Boston albums cannot be replicated by anybody else. I mean, when you listen to that, and again, as much as we joke about it, you know, speaking of repetitious songs that you hear on classic rock radio, that first Boston album is stunningly brilliant. I mean, just from note one, from
Dane's old junk,
from the first notes of More Than a Feeling all the way through to the end of Let Me Take You Home Tonight, it is almost unassailable. There's almost, I mean, with the exception of, I think Something About You is probably the weakest song on the record, and even that's pretty brilliant.
Something About You. Yeah, it's a good tune.
Yeah. And the guitar solos in Hitch a Ride are, I mean, phenomenal, just crystal clear. And remember, all of that stuff was done on analog in his home studio. Yeah. So when somebody tells you you can't make a demo that sounds great, you just point them to Tom Schultz, or you point them to what the Beatles were doing back in the day with 2 4-track tapes, you know, 2 4-track recorders set up in series.
The story that I heard, and, you know, we were just a bunch of stoner kids in Ohio back in the day, but I heard that Tom made the album. The record company came to him and said, oh my God, this is perfect. And so Tom said, okay, well, sign us to a record deal. We'll come in the studio and we'll re-record the album. And the Epic Records was like, no, this is great just the way it is.
No, that's the other way around. I heard. All record companies will do this. All record companies, no matter how good your record is recorded, will tell you that it has to be remixed, remastered, and that's how they recoup their advance money. How they get there, because people don't understand that when you get signed by a record company, you're not rich. You're suddenly given a loan. That's the first thing that happens when you get. It's almost like graduating from college. The minute you graduate, you're in debt. And as a band gets signed to a record company, they are immediately placed in debt because they get an advance to record their first record, which is a loan. And in order to recoup that loan, they have to be able to charge you for that. So if they give you, let's say they give you $1 million, which is not a lot of money in the world, in the record industry anymore. But they give you $1 million, then they start saying, okay, it's going to cost $300,000 to remaster the record or remix the record or re-record the record. And then you got the management costs, the insurance costs for backline, all the equipment, the tour bus, the van. Next thing you know, you find yourself $4 million in debt. And that's sort of how it works. It's like credit card companies. You borrow a little against your future, and you end up screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why all they want hits. Every song has to be heard on the radio. And yeah, most bands they release at least a number of records before anybody ever hears who they.
Well, not anymore. That's
Well,
the
yeah,
problem.
back in the day.
Yeah, back then, remember Kiss didn't pop until their fifth record, because they put out 3 studio albums that did nothing, and then Alive, which was a fake live album,
Mhm.
and then after Kiss Alive, you got Destroyer, and all of a sudden, Destroyer becomes this massive hit. And nowadays, you don't get 4 or 5 records to do that.
Did you hear the? I put it in our Facebook chat. The new Steven Rosen, the 1984 interview he did with
Yeah.
Gene Simmons. Did you
Mhm.
listen to any of that?
No, I just heard about it. I know you posted it. I just haven't had a chance to listen to
Oh,
it
it was
yet.
great. It was great. But yeah, Gene was saying that was it Dynasty? He said it was like it was a horrible. He said the record was like horrible.
It was fairly
the
bad.
record or the sales of their records were terrible, is what he was saying.
Well,
Something
no,
like that.
Alive wasn't really live. It really wasn't. Most of the record was overdubbed, and the crowd was dubbed in to make it seem.
This is more live right now. You guys are watching. Then
I think
Yes.
the song
Than that.
Black Diamond was the one where they really went and redid the vocal parts. Because when
Well,
you're
yeah,
up there playing
'cause Peter
drums
Criss
and
is
trying
not-
to sing at the same time, that's a tough gig. And so,
And Peter Criss
can
was
see why
not
they
known
would
as a
want that.
phenomenal live singer,
yeah.
which is a shame because he's got a great voice. He has a very Rod Stewart,
Right.
punky young Bryan Adams, that scratchy, gruff voice that really
Raspy.
would have worked well for more. He should have sang on more Kiss songs. But
the one big hit that they had
is his.
Beth with him singing, man, they cashed out on that.
Yeah.
So they knew that. Or
and they didn't even write it.
who is the producer? Oh, Bob Ezrin.
Bob Ezrin
Bob-
was the producer, but the guy named Stan Penridge wrote the song.
Right. But Bob Ezrin knew what he could do with Peter's voice.
Well, Bob Ezrin is still doing amazing things with Deep Purple. Deep Purple just put out a covers album called Turning to Crime last week. And it's pretty friggin' good. It took me a long time to accept Steve Morse in Deep Purple. He's been in the band significantly longer than Richie Blackmore was. But the stuff that we love from Deep Purple is the Blackmore stuff. But when you go and you listen to the last 2 or 3 Deep Purple records with Bob Ezrin producing it, Steve Morse and Don Airey have locked into that band in a way that, a very similar way that John Lord and Richie Blackmore did. Don Airey does it, pays tribute while still being the keyboard player in Deep Purple. He still has that sound that John Lord brought. Now, he's no John Lord. John Lord may be the greatest rock keyboard player of all time.
I agree.
But Don Airey is no slouch, and to get a guy like Don Airey into Deep Purple, I mean, he's the right guy for the job.
The Ozzy stuff, right? The first 2
Yeah.
Ozzy.
Yeah.
The Mr. Crowley intro.
Yeah, but I'm on board with John Lord. I mean, John Lord and Ian Pace, for me, that rhythm section makes Deep Purple. The guitar players, I mean, they've had a variety of great guitar players between Blackmore and Tommy Bolin and Joe Satriani for one tour, and Steve Morse. Those are all great guitar players. But to me, the groove of Deep Purple has always been Roger Glover, John Lord, and Ian Pace. That
Right.
rhythm section really makes it work. And then whatever guitar work you want to put over the top. And Ian Gillan on vocals. It's got to be Ian Gillan.
And then when they showed up at the California Jam in like 1973 with dude from Whitesnake on lead vocals.
Yeah, it was Coverdale and
the
Glenn
audience
Hughes.
was like, who's this band? I thought we were here to see Deep Purple.
It was a different, it's a lot like, it's an interesting parallel. I think a lot like the Van Halen parallel, which is it was a great band, but it was a different band.
Yeah, they showed up with David Coverdale on vocals.
Coverdale was a young guy back then.
unannounced.
Well, he was a young guy at that point. That was his first real exposure.
Yeah.
He had a solo record before that did not do well. And then that was a very strange, unique version of Deep Purple that didn't last very long, but it was pretty cool. But there's nothing
Sounds good.
There's nothing like that. I mean, for me, when Purple reunited in 83, 84 and went down through 89, that to me was a sweet spot. Again, I'm not 60 years old. I didn't live during the time when I wasn't really musically aware during the time when the original Deep Purple stuff came out. I had to go back and rediscover it after I discovered them in 84.
Mm-hmm. And now you have all their albums.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Including the covers record, which I said I wouldn't buy. And yet there I was on Friday buying it. And it's funny because normally I get, given what I do for a living, I can get records like that for free. Because I work at a classic rock radio station. I should be able to get that stuff for free.
I had to steal the Toto album from my cousin.
Mike Neese, Ron Keel claims Ron Keel was actually in Black Sabbath for about 6 days, allegedly.
That's longer than Mitch.
Sabbath.
It's longer than Mitch Malloy was in Van Halen. Yes.
Yeah, he should go out as the Black Sabbath experience.
He's actually done that. Ron Keel has re-recorded a couple of Sabbath songs just for the fun of it. But yeah,
Keel has a satellite radio, or maybe it's Sirius satellite.
It's online.
Oh, it's an online radio station.
Yeah,
right.
It's like
he played one of our songs one day.
Yep, Ron's a good dude.
Wow.
He lived here for a while.
Yeah,
he's from Nashville originally.
He lived in your house?
No, not here.
They were roommates.
I happen to like Keel a lot. Dwayne, their drummer, still lives here in Arizona. He lives actually here in the Valley in Phoenix. But there,
nice.
there's a great example of a band that had a very brief moment. Another Gene Simmons discovery. Allegedly, it wasn't really a Gene Simmons discovery. Mike Varney discovered them when Ron was in with Yngwie Malmsteen and Steeler, and then Gene got a hold of them after the Lay Down the Law record and produced The Right to Rock and Final Frontier records. And that was that period of time where Gene thought he was going to be a big music mogul, and he went and grabbed Black and Blue and Keel, and that's where he found Tommy Thayer in early 1984.
So he produces these bands and gets them,
poaches members.
He doesn't want them bigger than Kiss, though. Kiss is still like the main.
Nobody is bigger than Kiss.
Main thing. But if there's anybody in those bands that he likes, he tries to get them to join Kiss. Just put the makeup on them and.
Maybe. I mean, that's what Blackmore did. That's how Blackmore did.
When Black and Blue
stole a band called Elf.
I remember when Black and Blue had first come out. I actually went to a Kmart for some strange reason to go look for Hold On to 18 on a 45. I was going to go buy the Black and Blue 45. What year was that? 84? 85?
Hold On to 18 would have been 84, 85, yeah.
And so for some reason, there was a Kmart over here, which is long gone now, but I walked through there. I looked through all them. They didn't have it. I'm like, man, they need to get it together. I want that record. I was going to buy the 45.
Black and Blue was a decent band.
Yeah.
Another example of too many. There was a period of time during 1984 through 1988, 89, where there were just too many bands on Geffen Records, and they couldn't promote them all. So
you rely on radio to play the song, and if you get 100 people calling, wow, play that Black and Blue song. I saw him live too. There's John.
He's currently filming the next summer blockbuster. That's where he is. He'll be back next week, probably.
Kai, I don't believe Yngwie Malmsteen ever auditioned to play for Kiss. He may have submitted a tape. But I don't know that ever happened. That might be one of those urban legends that came up.
There's a video about JJ from Twisted Sister auditioning for Kiss.
It's possible he's the right age.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel. I believe it's called In Full Bloom, and it's just a guy that has old interviews from all these old dudes we know.
Mm-hmm. You think when Kiss is auditioning people, they have them dress up too,
no.
Like in makeup and stuff?
No. It's interesting how many different guitar players, the guy that really got screwed was Mark St. John, because he had something called writer's syndrome, which caused his hands to swell up. He was probably, and he was nothing more than just a shredder. He wasn't really a great songwriter. He was just a shredder guitar player. And Kiss grabbed him during that period of time when they were trying to jump on the shred trendy bandwagon. They didn't have a guitar player that played like that. Vinnie Vincent could play like that, but he was such an asshole and wanted to be properly compensated for his work. So he had left and formed the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. They brought Mark St. John into the band, and he was not very good as a songwriter, but he could play. He played a million miles an hour, but just didn't have any tone or any feel to his playing at all.
Well, then he'd be perfect in Kiss.
Yeah. Yes. He died long after the fact. He died long after being out of Kiss. But he could play. Mark St. John could play. He was in a band called White Tiger because why not White something?
Mm-hmm. When was he in Kiss? What years? Or what year? Or what?
85, 86. Animalize. So actually 84, 85. He's on the Animalize record. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware.
And he's actually on he's on one of the videos. Kiss put out a video, Animalize Live, I think it was called, or Live Animalize, or Live Animalize, whatever it is. And Mark St. John is the guitar player. Yeah, late 84, 85. That was when Animalize was a thing. Oh, Jesus, Kurt, 5150 a week ago. White Tiger, White Lion, Great White, White Snake, White Wolf, White Wizard.
White Zombie.
White, there's so many white bands.
Jack White. Who outsold all of them.
Wow. Jack White hasn't outsold Whitesnake. Whitesnake has sold a lot of records on that 87 record.
Yeah. I was just thinking today.
Mark's not on the commercial video, but he was on an MTV show that was part of that tour.
I was just thinking today. I mean, I know the Beatles has nothing to do with the 80s metal, but with the big thing going on right now with the Get Back documentary, I'm wondering how many sales, how many songs do the Beatles or say any of these bands sell like every day? But now it'd be like streams, like iTunes or.
The Beatles are a different animal altogether. You can't measure anything against the Beatles. They are a world phenomenon. There's the Beatles,
yeah,
and everything else,
and then everything else there is in every genre. Jay Hannon, you have to realize that. We're still trying to convince him that the Beatles was like the greatest thing there ever was.
That won't come until he gets older. It'll come to him later when he gets older. It just will. I was
listening to them last night because I have the I think it's called Ones, the red background with the yellow.
Yeah.
Number one hits.
I was listening to that last night, and I'm like, every song, it's like 2-3 minutes, not even 3 minutes.
Yep.
And it's like everything about every one of those recordings is it's perfect.
The Beatles did it all first, all of it. They were the first boy band. They were the first prog rock band. They were the longest metal band. They were the first metal band. I mean, Revolution and Helter Skelter are metal songs. Those are friggin' metal songs. They did avant-garde, prog rock, big opuses. By the way, Sgt. Pepper, the song, is hip hop. It was 20 years ago today. Sgt. Pepper taught the band to play. That's hip hop. They did it all first, and they did it all better. Now, let me take that back. They didn't do it all first. I mean, obviously, you have Big Bill Broonzy and Rocket 88 and all, Bill Haley and some of these other guys
that they were inspired.
Yeah, Memphis Minnie and all the blues people that they were inspired by. But the Beatles took all of that stuff and created this thing that still 51 years later, because remember, they broke up in 1970, 51 years later is still the measuring stick. Almost 3 generations later, nobody has come close to what they've already done. They are what everything is measured against. Everything you hear about is best since the Beatles. Blah, blah, the Beatles. The Beatles are, and now this thing, what's the biggest thing going on in streaming television right now? The Get Back documentary with the Beatles. They're just phenomenal.
Yeah. Which I did watch the first one. I watched it. Was it Sunday? Sunday I watched it, and I'm going to catch up on the other ones before my Disney Plus runs out, because I only have it for a little bit. But no, I was listening to those songs last night as I was driving home, and I was just sitting there at a stoplight, and I'm thinking, man, like, how many songs did they sell? Like, I was thinking about Paul McCartney and just how this documentary, it really shows like he really was like the man.
You know what? Here's the deal.
was.
They
He's
had
still the
that
man.
opportunity.
But
they had that opportunity to go in the studio with a great engineer at 10 o'clock in the morning with instruments tuned up, lunch was prepared for them, all that. You come in with an idea, you hang out. The three of us could go into Abbey Road Studios at 10 a.m. and by 6 o'clock that night, we could have song ideas recorded. Would they be anywhere close to the Beatles? No, but they would be something. We could do it. The three of us could write some kick-ass shit. Paul's great on lyrics. Johnny's great on guitar.
We have a Paul.
I could do a little bass part in there.
Paul, that could be Paul. That could be very nice.
And if we had the opportunity, like they did, to be in the studio, when they finished recording the Let It Be album, 3 weeks later, they were back in the same studio, starting on Abbey Road.
No,
when you get that kind of a groove in the studio, you've got tons of opportunity to come up with great shit.
It was, I'm sorry, but after watching just part one of Get Back, I'm convinced that Paul was the machine behind all of it.
Well, I mean, there's that,
which I never knew.
I've made this comment before. John Lennon's solo stuff is woefully overrated.
Yeah.
Some of it's good, but most of it is shit. You can't create chemistry. Those four guys had something that can't be created, sort of like Led Zeppelin and the original Van Halen or whatever band you want to put together. Chemistry can't be created. Whatever it is, they had the indeterminable, unidentifiable it. And I wouldn't call myself a Beatles fan at all. I own all of their music because it's almost like, as a musician, it's required listening. You have to. You have
to hear
that,
Jay?
Go and listen to it and go, this is clearly magical. There's something like Ticket to Ride from
magical
the Beatles.
Mystery.
Ticket to Ride. No, make no mistake about it. They had their share of shit too. I mean, all of side 2 of Yellow Submarine is garbage.
What's on side 2 of Yellow Submarine?
I don't think Paul wrote that part.
Shit. It's all movie shit. It's all like,
okay, no lyrics and just
self-indulgent shit. And part of the White Album is not good.
Another
some of the White Album is very much like Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. It got a little bloated and self-indulgent. And by the way, every band does that. You get to a certain degree and a certain level of genius and brilliance. The Who did it. The Police did it. Everybody does it. They have this moment of self-awareness where they go, I can do everything. And you go, no, you really can't. But when you look at their catalog,
Tom Scholz,
you have to, no, Tom Scholz's first 2 records were great. The rest of the Boston catalog is garbage. The first 2 records are fantastic. The third one,
he probably thought he was Paul McCartney.
What's the third Boston album? What's the name of that third Boston album?
Third Stage.
Okay. What was the sort of the
Amanda was the biggest song on it.
What was it?
Amanda was the biggest hit off that.
And then another song called awesome.
And then another song called Cool the Engines. Those were the 2 real big.
Oh,
and then
that song is awesome.
And then A Man I'll Never Be. Yeah, there are 9 songs on the record, and 3 of them are awesome. That's my point.
And if you're in baseball and you could hit 3 out of 10, you're an all-star.
It's not bad.
Yeah, 3 for 10, man. That's 333%.
The Beatles weren't perfect. No band is perfect, but the Beatles are the closest thing to a perfect band that there could be. Look, not everything is great. Not every swing is a home run. But I would say that you look at the Beatles catalog and there are, not many bands can put out a compilation record called Number Ones and have 22 or 23 songs on it that went number 1.
Every freaking song on that.
Yeah, I mean it's they are again the measuring stick. You don't have to like the band, but you do have to respect the band. It's like you have to learn the language before you can actually speak it fluently, and that is the base language for everything that came afterwards.
Do you guys know what Beatles had the first hit song after the Beatles broke up? Ask the chat. Ask the chat.
Repeat that again. That was kind of weird. What's the question?
Which Beatle had the first hit song after the Beatles broke up? Now, I saw this on a video last night, so I'm pretty sure I'm correct. That's right. Jeff got it. Davidson.
He whips his dick out really early.
Yeah.
What song was it?
My Sweet Lord was the first Beatles hit.
By the way, was plagiarism. For all the people that want to rip on Led Zeppelin for ripping off all of those blues songs and Van Halen and all these other guys, George Harrison stole My Sweet Lord from the Chiffons, a song called He's So Fine. He was sued for it and he lost.
Yeah, I'm not going with that.
It doesn't matter whether you go for it. It's a fact.
I heard stories of him throwing parties, strumming guitars, Mick Jagger's hanging out. They've got their wives, they're having parties, and he's strumming that and coming up with words where these people at the party are like, oh, okay, what about, and helping him. And people witness that song growing.
Uh-huh. And you don't know the song He's So Fine from the Chiffons?
Sure. He's so fine.
Yeah. When did George Harrison do My Sweet Lord? It would be after 1970, right?
1970 or 71.
Yeah, it's a shame that He's So Fine came out in 1963. There's a
little resemblance in the
there's no little resemblance. It's the same song. It's the same song. He was sued and lost.
Probably because he didn't have a good lawyer that knew how to explain that to the judge what was actually happening with this song. If he would explain what chords he was playing compared to the Chiffons, what chord progression they were playing, they weren't. It wasn't that close.
Okay.
There's similarities. I don't think it was that close.
Well, you tell that to George Harrison's bank account.
He was sued for copyright by the publisher.
Sean Mahoney, you're incorrect.
Bullshit.
Sean, you're incorrect. Lennon's solo content did not outdo Paul's. Jesus, if Paul McCartney weren't in the Beatles, he still would have been a massive success with Wings.
No,
Wings was a phenomenal band.
George had the first hit. McCartney had the second. And then Imagine came out by John, and then Paul had another hit song, and then Ringo came out with She's 17 or something. So Ringo was about the fifth in line to have a hit. But
didn't Winger cover that?
Didn't what? Who do it?
Yeah, it was a cover.
Then Winger came out.
It was a cover.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool watching that documentary and watching Paul just sit there and work through, these songs and the ideas, and watching Ringo and George just so bored watching them,
Yeah, but Ringo was paying attention. Ringo was sitting there listening to it, and he's looking like this. But then he'd be like, okay. And he was concentrating. He wasn't goofing around. They would goof around a lot.
Yeah, it's just so cool to see that stuff and just
it was
to hear what happens. And who was I saying? I asked somebody this, I guess it was yesterday. Just imagine, take your favorite band, whoever it is. For me, Van Halen, The Police, whatever, and imagine that type of footage or documentary with your favorite band. What that would be like.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, this documentary that everybody's going nuts over is a rehash of the Let It Be movie. This is all the B-roll. This is the stuff that didn't even make it to the original movie, and it's still amazing. Like, their throwaways are still more entertaining than most bands' greatest work. It's so silly.
Quentin sent me a pic.
Quentin.
Thank you, Quentin. He sent me 2 of them. I got a whole bunch of Swiss picks today. So all you
No way.
local Phoenix guys, I've got some. Let me show you a couple.
Swiss picks. SwissPicks.com.
Swiss picks. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them today. Different flavors, different big ones, small ones. And what I like about them is they're all at least a millimeter or thicker. There's no like those super thin ones. So yeah, I got a lot of Swiss picks in stock.
Awesome.
Pete's a nice guy.
By the way, just to respond to a couple of points in the Sean Mahoney, you can disagree about Paul McCartney's solo material versus John Lennon's solo material, but you're wrong, because Paul McCartney, because the statistics pointed out, Paul McCartney has had several #1 albums and has sold tens of millions of records as a solo artist. John Lennon didn't. John Lennon didn't. I mean, his output was significantly less.
Lennon took the 70s and pretty much went on vacation.
But Paul McCartney, I mean, Band on the Run, the record is better than anything John Lennon ever released. That's a fact.
Sorry about my chair.
It's outsold, and people, it's a must-own record. You might like it, you might not like it as much as John Lennon, and there are people who will say that, but Paul McCartney's solo career is unassailable. And even to the point where he walked into Foo Fighters, or actually Nirvana, years ago when Dave Grohl was doing that Sound City demo, made a couple of adjustments to a song, and they won a Grammy because he just went in and went, "Oh, I've got an idea." And Dave Grohl's like, "Do you want to play on the song?" Which is a ballsy thing to do. Can you imagine your Dave Grohl? Dave Grohl has balls the size of an RV. I mean, he talks to Paul McCartney like he's not in the presence of Paul McCartney. And then Paul McCartney inducts him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How great is that? I don't know if you haven't seen the induction speech that Paul McCartney gives to bring Foo Fighters into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's fairly brilliant. I mean, he equates Dave Grohl being in the biggest band of his generation and then having to relaunch his solo career with Paul McCartney being in the biggest band of his generation and having to relaunch his solo career. He basically says Dave Grohl is a modern day version of me. Can you imagine getting that kind of an endorsement? Paul McCartney,
I believe
calling you the greatest modern rock star out there?
I mean,
a punk rock drummer.
I believe that. I mean, like it or not, I mean, Nirvana really is, that generation's Beatles. That, Cobain is that generation's Lennon. Really, it's true.
There's a certain argument, there's an argument to be made. I would disagree with the argument, but again, just like I say with the Beatles, Nirvana was a tipping point in pop culture. They're the last major tipping point in pop culture when it comes to music. They're the last band that changed the world with their music. Last rock band that did that.
Yeah, if you're stuck on a deserted island and you have the Nirvana catalog, or you have the John Lennon solo catalog, what you gonna enjoy the most and not want to kill yourself after 3 months?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
is there electricity?
I mean, there's a Dave Grohl is clearly the most talented guy in Nirvana. And
he's the Paul McCartney of Nirvana.
He has quietly, not so quietly. Do you realize Foo Fighters have like 9 albums out? They release an album like every 24 months or some shit like that. They've been around for 30 years now. It's so hard to think of that because people think of Foo Fighters as being a new band. They're not. They've been around almost. And remember, the Beatles were around for fucking 7 years. Think about that. Their entire existence was 7 years. It's so weird.
Wow.
So weird.
Still squeaks.
Didn't work, man.
Nope, didn't work.
I'll try to just sit still.
Yeah, you know, and there are people who will try to defend they'll try to defend the Nirvana thing. Look, the first two Nirvana records didn't do well. Smells Like Teen Spirit was a turning point in music. Again, Geffen Records, they had a great marketing company. They came at the right time. It was a combination of decent songwriting, and a good album. And then In Utero was a disappointing follow-up. People forget that In Utero was a disappointing follow-up, and that Nirvana were on the verge of breaking up when Cobain took his own life.
I remember all the news on MTV, and I liked In Utero. I thought it was a better.
I think All Apologies is their best song. I think it's a phenomenal song. And I think there are certain things that they did. The Nirvana Unplugged, to me, is better than anything they put on record. Watching that show and watching them, that was, to me, a moment that reminds me of what it must have been like to watch the rooftop concert. What it must have been like. I can get why people that love that music find that so good. I personally am a bigger fan of Soundgarden and Nirvana from that era. I mean, it's Soundgarden and Alice in Chains from that era. Soundgarden, but again, those bands were more rock than they were alternative. Nirvana was the most alternative of the four big bands that came out of Seattle at that point. Soundgarden was really a hard rock / metal band. Alice in Chains was a hair band that immediately realized, oh shit, this is over. Quick, get the hairspray out, and redefined themselves.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam is, very much like the Who. The Who and the Grateful Dead sort of get together and do a thing. But Nirvana was the one that was the most quote unquote alternative, coming from the world of the Pixies and some other stuff. Or you can trace them back to almost Neil Young. But that's the fun part about all those bands. When you get all the way back to it, Soundgarden did a cover of Come Together. You know what I mean? It all goes back to the Beatles. They certainly are the Big Bang of modern day rock music. And if it weren't them, it would have been somebody else. It sucks because I like the Stones stylistically more than the Beatles. I like Honky Tonk Woman. I like, Brown Sugar. I like Sympathy for the Devil, and it's only and Tumbling Dice. Yes,
Tumbling Dice.
Happy.
Groove. Like,
yeah,
wow.
no, the grooves of the Stones I prefer. The Stones were significantly more limited than the Beatles. They didn't take the chances that the Beatles took. The Stones found their thing and do their thing outstanding. And then the Stones begets Aerosmith, which begets Guns N' Roses, which begets the Black Crowes, which begets, all of these other, which eventually gets us to Dirty Honey and Greta Van Fleet and those bands. It all goes back to the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. I mean, shit. When you think about I'm spoiled because I was born in 1968, and Dane too. We saw every great musical moment happen during our lifetime.
Well,
with the exception of the birth of rock and roll.
Did we miss out on Elvis?
Elvis was done long before we were. Elvis was a blip. He was a moment.
He still had hits in the 60s. Superstition Mind. He still had a couple of
Suspicious
hits.
Minds was a fun, but that was when he was going through his gospel fear period. Remember Elvis 69. After that 68 comeback special when he's in the black leather, jumper and all that stuff. But then he went to Vegas. By the time we were aware of what music was, Elvis was wearing white sequin jumpsuits on the strip in Vegas when Vegas was a bad word. Back then, playing Vegas was where your career went to die unless you were Frank Sinatra. Now Vegas is like, shit, yeah, I got a fucking casino gig in Vegas.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Don't have to get on the bus.
All of those, we saw every great musical event. I mean, obviously Woodstock happened right after we were born. We don't get it, but hard rock, acid rock, prog rock, hair bands, metal, thrash metal, speed metal, power metal.
What about the Sinatra
of
the 1940s?
What, big
Frank
band music?
Sinatra of the 1940s. That was pretty freaking epic.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was one style of music. They were all doing it. Frank Sinatra was just the best of it.
Yeah,
Dude,
that was the Beatles before the Beatles.
That was a different style of music. It was interesting. Lemmy once said, and it really put it in perspective. Lemmy said, "I remember a time before rock and roll." And I can't comprehend. My father remembers that time. My mom was born in 1948. They're both gone now, so I can talk about them. My mom was born in 1948, so she was 19 when I was born. So her record collection was fucking awesome. My father was born in 1927. Do the math. My father was in his 40s when I was born. He was 20-something years older than my mom. Douche.
And he had to live through World War II.
Yes, he fought.
He fought in World War II.
Yeah. The record collection my father had was the Ray Conniff singers, Guy Lombardo, like Benny Goodman. Like, so I had a pretty kick-ass palette of music to draw from as a kid. I had all this original big band shit, you know, Benny Goodman and Guy Lombardo and Les Paul when he was playing jazz and country music. And then my mom had Freddie Fender and the Mamas and the Papas and Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. So I was screwed. You know, I was screwed from the word go. It was awesome. I had just beautiful. And now I have all this stupid music around me because it's a gift. It's the greatest gift.
Sorry.
Phone call.
Elvis was a blip, Jeff Davidson. His creative output really was a blip. It was a couple of years where his true creative output was a blip. Now, that said, it was a massive blip. It was, you know, he had a moment that is still talking about a short period of time. He was a zephyr.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Neanderthal, you forgot the 1970s had the Bay City Rollers.
That's
yes.
Right.
And by the way, the Bay City Rollers and Sweet and all of that weird, goofy shit, that was cool too.
I love Sweet.
Let's not forget the Bee Gees. You know, you might want to rip disco. Go back and listen to those Bee Gees records. You're like, holy shit, these are good songs. Do you know why? Because the Bee Gees were competing with the Beatles. And there's an argument to be made. They were kind of the same band early on. The Bee Gees, early Bee Gees stuff does sound like the Beatles. They had amazing harmonies, amazing songwriting. So yeah.
Weren't they in that movie?
Yes, they were in the Sgt. Pepper movie.
Yeah.
Which is really a bad thing. That's one of the mistakes they made in their career, was being in that movie.
What band would you consider to be the biggest clone of the Beatles as far as, God, they sound just like them?
Well, I mean, like unintentionally or I mean, everybody did for a long time back then. A lot of bands copied. Obviously, the Monkees was clearly attempted to do that. I would say Oasis did a really good job of sort of copying the Beatles in a way that was, you know, Beatles-esque. But there were so many bands back then that did that. I mean, you know, that style became, you know, the Byrds sort of took a little bit of what the Beatles did and made it, you know, their own. You know, there's so many bands that did that.
Especially during that time period.
Yeah.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
But none of them, yeah, I mean, they all tried to
Rusty,
they all tried to
Stills
do
and that.
yeah. They all tried to be the Beatles. You know, the Beatles, again, there's a great example for being first. The Beatles was the first band that everybody said, I've got to have my version of that. You know, we talk about how Creed was like, you know, Creed exploded because they were a bad Pearl Jam ripoff, but then there were all these bands that sounded like Creed, and Nickelback. There's all these bands that sound like Nickelback. King's X is very, very reminiscent of the Beatles. Good job, False Flag. King's X, super underrated band.
Lenny
Super
Kravitz
underrated
had a very Beatle-ish type of tune.
Yeah,
That
Lenny
was
Kravitz
almost
as
a
well.
direct ripoff.
So here we are. I mean, Let Love Rule is almost Hey Jude. It's almost the same song.
That's right.
Those are those things that the Beatles did when they got their moment, when Capitol Records got the Beatles on their label and created a cash cow. Every label was like, God, I got to create my version of that.
Yeah.
Hermits, a variety of people, number of people.
Yeah, all those bands.
Yeah.
They all had the same haircuts. They ran around and tried to do the same type of videos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that and the Monkees was the most successful, I think, of
Well, yeah. I mean, the Monkees was a deliberate, but by the way, the Monkees had some pretty damn good songs. I mean, they were obviously weren't written by them, but Monkees is pretty
Created
good.
in Hollywood, written by Neil Diamond and huge songwriters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Humble Pie was a great band, Rock Daddy. Fantastic band. Didn't get any don't get a lot of credit for who they were.
Peter Frampton's
Yes,
first
Elvis.
band, right?
Elvis was the first. Jeff Davidson. I know you want to stand up for Elvis, and that's great. He was an icon. There's no doubt about it. But his good music was this period. He did have, and by the way, the only reason why Elvis was as big as he was is because racist America wasn't ready to give Little Richard or James Brown or Chuck Berry the credit. Those guys were significantly more prolific. Do you realize that Elvis Presley recorded 600 songs in his career? Do you know how many he wrote?
Zero.
Elvis Presley never wrote a song. He was a movie star, good-looking guy with a unique voice that was very reminiscent of Black America while being a straight-up, clean-cut white boy.
Can you really
was
honestly
amazing.
say racist America wasn't ready for those artists?
They're
though?
still not ready for it.
Hmm?
You still hear people say that hip-hop doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
certain parts of the country are still the
The
same.
Jim Crow South still exists, man. It still
Okay.
exists. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, you believe as you want, but Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, Little Richard, Robert Johnson, Big Bill Brunzi, James Brown. Shit, man. James Brown was 5,000 times the entertainer that Elvis was. James Brown was better than Elvis. Better. His band was better. His show was better. His songs are better. But unfortunately, in the 1950s, can't have it. B.B. King, yeah, great
Right.
example. Freddie King, Albert King, Buddy Guy, those guys all did more than Elvis. Elvis never wrote a song. Now, that said, certainly the first pop star, certainly the icon, certainly the king of rock and roll, because he was marketed as such. He was the greatest. He was the first rock and roll movie star.
But all those people that you did list off there, they're all household names.
Right.
So I'm thinking that,
Jeff
if America
Davidson,
was
James
so racist, we wouldn't know of any of those people.
Jeff Davidson, James Brown is 10 times better than Elvis. He's not a screamer. If you ever listen to This Is a Man's World, those blues are fucking dripping off of James Brown. James Brown was phenomenal. Phenomenal. He was an asshole. He was out of control. But
But he was James Brown.
But
I liked it when he would take his robe off and the roadie would grab the robe and stick it back on him. That's all I ever got out of that.
James Brown was fucking awesome. Elvis couldn't play guitar. Scotty Moore was his guitar player and phenomenal. And by the way, Scotty Moore, a guitar player who never gets any credit for being as good as he was. Elvis wasn't a great guitar player. He wasn't. He was an amazing frontman. There's no doubt that he was a frontman. Elvis was an entertainer, without a doubt. Could he sing? Absolutely. He had a unique voice that was great, but he never wrote a song.
Yeah, that does kill you
a
when kills your career when you're not a songwriter. It cheapens it.
Hellstorm, Carl Perkins, another guy that doesn't get a lot of credit for being as good as he is. But
Right.
James Brown, yeah, Jackie Wilson is a great example. James Brown is a phenomenal musician. Sorry. I know you want to love Jeff, you want to love Elvis and you want to put Elvis, but the reality is, when it all comes down to it, Elvis was an amazing pop star. He was certainly marketed fantastic. He had a great voice. He had a great look. The chicks went nuts, but he's nowhere near as talented as James Brown, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, even Jerry Lee Lewis. Nowhere near as talented as any of those guys were. That
Well,
said,
the argument is none of those guys could sing like Elvis.
well, I'm not sure that that's true. I'm not sure that that's
Love
true.
me tender.
He had a fantastic. Elvis was the white Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
Elvis's voice was Nat King Cole smooth, and he was white. And and Ray Charles, again, Jerry Wilson, another fantastic one. All of those people were better than Elvis. All of them. Elvis was just phenomenal.
have some Ray Charles blues albums. I love the blues that Ray Charles does.
Yeah, all those guys, by the way, welcome to Talking 80s Metal.
Well, we're starting at the roots of where it began.
Elvis was well marketed.
Yeah.
And by the way, I lived in Memphis and actually almost killed Elvis's cousin.
Oh,
Nice.
If anybody's ever been to Memphis, there are these stores. They're kind of like Quick Trip or 7-Elevens. They're called Mapco. And Mapco, the radio station I was working at, was doing a 92-cent gas promotion. And we were in South Haven, Mississippi, which is not too far north of Tupelo, and just south of Memphis. And we were changing the price on the sign outside the gas station. And those prices, they're on like the numbers are on little plastic poster board. You know what I mean? So we had a suction cup and like a grip, like one of those grip things that you would use to grab like something on a top shelf. And we were taking the stuff down, and one of them came down and hit this guy in the face, like right here, and sliced his eye open like Rocky Balboa in Rocky 1. And I found out after the fact, somebody goes, yeah, that's like Elvis's second cousin. I was like, they still live here. The whole family still lives in Mississippi. And Elvis also used to bang my general manager, which I did the math. She would have been underage at the time. Yeah, there you go. There's Mapco. Yep. I think it's Memphis something oil company or whatever, petroleum company.
Yep.
Because Mapco had its own oil refinery and gas refineries and shit.
Ooh, look at that. Cold beer. Energy.
Mapco was the first place I ever was able to buy beer on Sunday. I grew up in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts has these old blue laws where you can't buy beer on a Sunday. So when I moved from Massachusetts to Tennessee, we drove literally, my ex-wife and I were still dating at the time. No, we had just been married. We drove from Boston down to Memphis. And when we got to Memphis, we got there on like a Saturday, and Sunday we went into Mapco and we saw the beer case wasn't locked up. It was the first time I'd ever bought beer on a Sunday. It's like, oh my God, is this possible?
You're like, party.
So very strange.
It looks nice. Welcome to a better break, Mapco. They probably have those big giant burritos in there.
Oh, those Tina burritos.
About this long.
The big bomb, yeah. No, they were yes, Come and Go, Jerry, Come and Go. I think it's KUM and apostrophe O. I'm not kidding. That's what it is.
No, I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, Come and Go. There's one in Sacramento.
Yeah.
We got a lot of Quick Trips here and Circle K, and we had some AM PMs here in Phoenix for a while, but they've slowly started to just go away.
Is that what it is, Mike Neese? Mid-America Pipeline Company? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I thought it was something petroleum company. Okay. You're right. I'll defer to it. I just remember that was the first time. It's a Memphis thing. I'm
surprised they haven't shut that pipeline down. Oh, I'm getting political. I'm not supposed to do that. Damn. Paul hates it when you say anything political.
It's because you lose half your audience.
Yeah.
You lose half your audience no matter which side you take. So.
See? We just lost like 10 people.
Did we?
Is that because they want to pay that high gas prices?
No, because they all got hungry and they headed to 7-Eleven after.
Yeah, that's possible too. Piggly Wiggly. The first Piggly Wiggly was in Memphis, Charlie S. Yeah. Yeah, there's actually a big like, bronze plaque. If you're going down, I forget the street. It's not Beale Street because Beale Street runs perpendicular to this street, but where the trolley goes downtown Memphis through downtown Memphis, you get to this area and there's like a little park. It's like it's a little plot of land with like benches, little park benches and shit on it. And there's a huge plaque, bronze plaque that says, on this site stood the first Piggly Wiggly 30 something. I don't remember when it was open, but it's this huge like bronze plaque. Like they're so proud of the first ever Piggly Wiggly supermarket.
I don't even think I've ever even heard of the Piggly Wiggly until it was like in a Jeff Foxworthy joke or something. Larry the Cable Guy talked about it.
Yeah, Piggly Wiggly was a big deal, man. In fact, that's where Chris DeBaldo got busted banging his underage girlfriend, was in the parking lot of a Piggly Wiggly.
Oh my gosh.
He was 21 and she was, I don't know, 16 or 17. It was a consensual relationship. Everybody knew about it, but his parent, they had all parental approval, all this kind of weird shit. It was very common down there in the South. And there you go.
The Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly. Clarence Saunders, everybody.
Oh, and they had a
If you
beauty
look-
contest.
If you look off to the right, you'll see the little train station. There's the trolley line is right there. And that's literally through the middle of the city. That trolley line runs parallel to the Mississippi River.
Boinky boinky.
That's what DeBaldo was
Who's
involved in.
doing the
was the
oinky boinky?
Yeah, no, that was a big deal, man. Piggly Wiggly was a huge deal in Tennessee. They took that shit very seriously. And like a couple of blocks over, there's another sign for, I forget the call letters of the radio station. It drives me nuts that I can't remember, but it was the first black owned radio station in American history.
Wow.
Yeah, Christopher, it's interesting when you talk about Detroit and knowing nothing but great music. When you come from a city like that, like Detroit, and when I grew up in Boston, it was fairly big with the Jay Giles Band in Boston and Aerosmith and so many major artists coming out of there. James Taylor. You feel like it's like that everywhere in America. And when I think about where I've worked, going from Boston to Memphis, which was clearly the birthplace of rock and roll, to New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz. I mean, I'm very thankful, given the amount of music that I've been exposed to in my life, of how many different amazing music cities I've had a chance to live in. And it really is a great way to digest America, is going to places like Austin, Texas, or Memphis, or Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, places where there are Athens, Georgia, places where there are Seattle, amazing music scenes that came up, Washington, D.C.
Do you occasionally get offers from other stations around the country, like, hey, man, come if you're looking for work ever or whatever? Do you get emails or anything?
Yeah, I mean, they do that. They do, they basically ask, first question they ask is, are you happy? And then the second question is, are you under contract? And if the answer to either of those questions is yes, the conversation ends, because they can't get you,
Right.
But when you're between contracts or between jobs, yeah. But I mean, if I decided I didn't want to live in Phoenix anymore, I could probably find a job somewhere else in the country easily. Which, great. I don't want to move. I'm 53. I'm done. Yeah. Philadelphia had a great Vistalite. Philadelphia had a great doo-wop. That the doo-wop sound comes from Philly.
Paul, what if it was
Philly
like,
had a
what if you got
phenomenal music scene at one point.
What if you got a huge offer from a radio station, but it was like a, I don't know, what would be a crazy kind of a station?
AM.
Yeah, no.
AM is big.
What if it was a top 40 station and you had to do the wild morning show comedy routine?
The music's unimportant.
Oh, okay.
If you're entertaining, you can be entertaining to any audience. So
what would be your dream job if somebody would call you and offer you something?
I don't know. Lead singer in Van Halen.
What I mean, as far as radio, what about Sirius, your own Sirius station? Something like that.
I've had people ask why I'm not on Hair Nation or Ozzy's Boneyard. And the point is that they don't pay that well. And that's the truth. And they don't, and it's not live, with the exception of a couple of Eddie Trunk shows. Most of what you hear on Sirius satellite radio is pre-recorded. All those Tommy Londons and the Keith Roths and all those guys, they record that stuff in a studio like mine, and they just fake it and then send it through the internet to the satellite, and it's not live. And I don't like doing radio that way. WDHA in Jersey is awesome. Terry Carr is my not so secret radio crush. I love Terry. She's one of my favorite people on the planet and super talented. Yes, Memphis is the birthplace of rock because that's where Sun Studios was. And that's where all of those bands, that's where the record companies were at the time. That's where they would press the records. That's where Jerry Lee Lewis was from. That's where all those bands recorded. That's why Memphis is the birthplace of rock. And yes, Elvis was marketed out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of it. That's why rock and roll came from Memphis, because Sun Studios was the first big rock and roll recording studio.
And Elvis had that manager. What was his manager's name?
Colonel Tom Parker.
Colonel Tom Parker. Now, did the Colonel, the first time he heard Elvis, he's like, and Elvis is like, "Sir, I don't write songs." Do you think the Colonel was like, "Hey, man, don't even sweat it"?
Yes. Yes. Colonel Tom Parker saw a good-looking kid with a smooth-sounding voice, and said, "I'm going to make him a pop star." And he did. Is that Swiss Picks?
Somebody bought these at your shop today.
Swiss Picks.
They sent me this. You sold these today, Dan.
Oh yeah, that's Rico B.
Oh yeah, Rico
B.
Rico is in the store today. I'll tell you what, man. Pete, and I'm not supposed to say anything, but he's got a great guitar collection. The owner of Swiss Picks.
Sure.
Well, you just said it.
You're not supposed to say anything. Yeah.
Swiss Picks.
Yeah, I've got about $100 worth of Swiss Picks from him today. So it's I don't know, 25 packs or something.
Mm-hmm. So you are you gonna have a display behind you?
I stuck them next to the Dunlop stuff. Oh yeah, I should put them right here, huh? They're right over here in the Father Pick.
Is that a real guitar behind you? People like Laz was asking me yesterday if that's an actual guitar.
This one?
Oh, the striped
Yeah,
up
the Van
fake?
Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a real.
I put them right here. 1, 2. I bought 28 packs. Swiss Picks.
Nice.
I bought everything he brought. And he surprised me because at the time I wasn't expecting him, and he walked in. And I'm like, "Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's do a video about it." He's like, "Oh, I don't really want to do videos." Okay. I don't push people too hard to do a video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had some great stories today when Pete was in here.
But you can't.
But he doesn't want me to blab about anything.
Hmm.
Because I'm a bit of a blabber.
Were there other people in there while he was telling them though?
No, it's just Rico and Pete, myself.
It was just you guys. Hey, Mike Neese. I got 2 packages here from Mike Neese. I'll open these up real quick. Really quick. Mike Neese, thank you, man. Let's see. What is this? Oh, dude.
We're multitasking.
Dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Look at this.
Because you're never going to get them from...
No, Sweetwater.
Sweetwater will never send them to you.
Will never send them to me. And these aren't actually what I ordered from. I ordered the ones in the packages. These are the ones I ordered from. I think. I don't think they were the tins, but I have all of them now. Thank you to viewers like Mike Neese. That's a cool tin.
He gets all kinds of free shit.
Guys, you
Look at
want to
that.
see a guitar?
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a hint.
Dude.
That's
at
my
this.
clue.
I'm opening up a package from Mike Neese here. Mike. Thank you, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that. That's brand new. I mean, literally brand new. They Van Halen store just released these. Thank you, Mike Neese. Hey, Craig, welcome back from eating lasagna. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I forgot I had it plugged in. It was just been sitting on the stand behind me. It's been on this whole time. I'm just burning those tubes up.
Oh, how's the George Lynch pedal?
I haven't used it yet.
Paul bought a pedal from me, and it's the George Lynch pedal where he can tap his guitar into all three amplifiers at the same time.
We saw it on Saturday, or he was talking
Yeah,
about
it's pretty
it.
cool. I also bought a head
okay.
rush that I haven't used yet.
I missed that.
Is this show and tell time?
Bell.
Wait, don't show it.
$1986. It's a Model 2.
Oh, cool. Japanese Model 2. My little brother has one of those.
Look at what kind of bridge is that?
It's a
Kaler.
weird little Kaler style.
Huh? Wow,
Yeah, it's a Kaler.
I've never seen that kind.
I've just been sitting here with this thing in clean tone, man. I love clean tones on a Les Paul. That's a good. I mean, look, at the time, I'll tell you the story about this. That guitar back in the day was somewhere around $700 or $800 in 1986, and my little brother bought one out of a place called Cambridge Music, where the guitar teacher was a guy named Joe Stump, who's now in Alcatraz. And those guitars were like
He's in
$700-800
prison?
bucks. No, they were like $700-800, and then at the same time, a real Gibson Les Paul, as opposed to this knockoff, you could get them for $450-500 bucks on the wall. You could buy like a Norland Les Paul for like $450-500. Nobody wanted them. They all wanted to buy those and Kramers and ESPs and BC Riches. Nobody gave a shit about the classic Les Paul or Strat. And you could have them for a song because everybody wanted those. It was stunning. Yeah, Bozique, Joe is a great Yngwie clone. He's a huge clone.
Wait a minute. Oh, that's horrible.
Sorry, I'm going to get flagged for playing Joe Satriani. My mistake.
Oh no.
Yep. That's right. It wasn't played well, so it's...
Did you see Laz has a Satriani Ibanez?
Oh, does he?
Like first year or whatever?
Dane has a fantastic Ibanez Sabre in there that is basically pre-Satriani. It's the same guitar.
Kind of like what Skolnick played.
Kind of, yeah. the Saber S, I don't know, S540 or something like
Oh,
that.
that's the Ernie Ball Saber I have.
No. The Saber guitar was originally it's an Ibanez model.
Oh yeah. The 7-string.
No. No, there's
This
that
is an
Epi.
Epiphone, and it is called the Century, and it's got the single dog ear noiseless P90 in it, hollow body, arch top.
I like
And
that.
this is the what's the guy's name?
John Beale. James Bay, 1966 Century.
James Bay. You guys ever heard of him?
Nope.
No,
He's an English artist. He might be a Christian artist. I'm not sure. But it's a James Bay. And if you like simplicity, you got your volume, you got your tone, you got a single P90, a noiseless P90.
If you like uncontrollable feedback, that guitar probably sounds better unplugged.
Yeah.
I would say. Sorry, James. It looks cool.
He was talking about just in a clean amp with reverb, this thing sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, except it'll feed back if you crank it up too much.
Yeah, it's not that kind of guitar where you're, here's where your A minor is right here.
It's a one type of sound.
Yeah, you're down here doing this kind of stuff.
That type of. Yeah, there's only so much you can do with that one pickup and it being hollow like that, and of course, no Floyd Rose.
Flag. It's a nice one.
Wow, 2 guitars. And how much tonight?
Guys gotta call me. This is the strap that came with that. And it's got his logo on the strap.
Somebody we've never heard of.
Yeah, James Bay. He's got a couple albums out. He's an English artist.
I'm sure he likes the Beatles.
I bet he loves the Beatles. I just
I have no
have
doubt.
that. I just kind of have that inkling that he's a Beatles fan. James Bay, everybody look him up.
Remember that time when Michael Bay went crazy?
This went on Reverb today.
Remember that? He went nuts. He's the guy that makes Transformers?
Yes.
Dude, I saw that first Transformers movie in the theater. I almost went nuts myself because of how crazy the effects were. It was too much.
Yeah, that's what you've got. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's the Yngwie Malmsteen rule. Is that your Ibanez 7-string?
What is that?
It's an Ibanez.
Jay, look at that. Look at that nut. Oh my gosh.
That's what she said.
Sorry about that. My nuts were in the way. Thank you for laughing at that one, Johnny. I'm not a very funny guy, usually.
Wow.
Active
Oh my
Fishman pickup.
gosh. How thick is that heavy?
24 fret, 7-string, multi-scale, fan fretted, same thing. Yeah, you just like, you know, I have no idea where I'm at on any of this.
Man, that's the total opposite guitar of that Epiphone.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 full spectrum.
If you
And
want
it's got
2
that paint that goes from
guitars.
gray to purple. I haven't restrung it or cleaned it up yet. I've had it a couple of weeks now. Real thin little horn here. Super cool though. You show up at a gig with this thing, and even if you ignore this low string, and you just show up and do your normal thing, people are going to be like, damn, that dude's a bad mofo.
Yeah, just show up with that. You
don't have to plug it in.
You just show up with it, and people are
Take
scared.
it to the blues jam.
Oh yeah, you'll get kicked out instantly if you bring that thing out. That's the thing about blues jams. Is when you show up, if you're the new guy, they,
Look
That
how
was
weird. It
nothing to
looks
do
like
with
you
you.
got your harmonicas with you already. But it's a little case that has small little wrenches and tools and an extra whammy bar or whatever, goodies. You got a little goodie box with it.
wow.
And it's got a little warranty card nobody ever uses. No whammy bar. No whammy bar on this one.
Hey, Keith Campbell. Keith Campbell got a new guitar yesterday. He sent me a text on the text line last night. Keith, tell them what you got, or text me a photo of your guitar. We'll show. Look at this! Oh my gosh! You would think this guy should open up a store. He's got so many guitars.
This is a fun one.
Oh man.
The Jackson. What's the guy's name
Who's that?
from
Leif Garrett?
That's good.
Yeah.
Adrian Smith.
Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden.
I love the fact that Dane has to think about who the guitar players from Iron Maiden is.
I couldn't tell you their names. I could tell you the name of people that were in Iron Maidens before I could tell you people that are in Iron Maiden.
Iron fucking Maiden, mate. Look at that maple neck. Super cool, right, guys?
Yeah. How much tonight? Right now.
5,000.
Oh. Pennies?
If anybody wants anything, you gotta call me tomorrow. Don't call me tonight and be just fucking goofing around.
Does
No
your phone
goofing
ring?
around.
Like after these shows, is your phone like ringing?
No.
You would think with me putting my phone number on the internet like down there, it would ring all
Yeah.
the time. Sometimes it does. Most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah, I do. I need a guy that just to tune the guitars. Paul knows when regulars come in here. I hand them the tuner and I make them tune.
Yep. First thing. And it's funny too, because I mean, I'm not going to dime you out, Dame, for being a jerk, because you're not a jerk about it. I understand that if I worked in a guitar store and I heard it this often, I'd be sour about it too. But the one thing that Dane gets really salty about really fast is when somebody is playing guitar and they spend about anything more than 30 seconds tuning it. He'll hear them. They're just going fucking ding, 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 ding. And Dane goes from across the store, I can tune that for you if you want. Like, he gets so pissy about it. There was some, I'm not going to say who it was, but there was a customer in the store And I'm going to use the they them pronoun because I'm not going to gender shame anybody. But they were in the corner, and I mean, literally, I recognized it after about 12 minutes of trying to tune the A and the E string. And Dane just finally, I can see him starting to steam up, and he goes, "Do you want me to tune that for you?" And the person goes, "No, I've got it." And I'm like, "No, you don't." And if
and it was a Floyd with a locking nut, and it was the nut was locked.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, "No, you don't know what you're doing."
You know what else bugs me is the old guys that come in and they look around like furiously, and I'm like, "Can I help you with something?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm looking for like an old Martin." And I'm like, "Dude, coming in here asking for an old Martin is almost like going to Auto Nation Nissan and asking for a '63 Corvette." Okay, what are you doing in here? I'm not going to have an old Martin.
That's not
And
what
if
I
I
am.
do have an old Martin, see, that's what I have to do at the store too. I have to talk over people tuning. If I do have an old Martin guitar, I have like 3 or 4 guys that are
Johnny,
on my
like
list
this.
of people to call. The
Johnny, it's
second
like
I
this.
get one.
It's like this.
And then they stop for a second. Wait a minute, I'm writing a Metallica song.
You know what else bugs me? I hate to be one of those old guitar store guys that everything bugs him and he's just an asshole. And you don't even want to go into the guy's store, but
you're gonna.
the things that people do is just like, oh my God. Guys come in and they set with the acoustics and then they start singing. And I'm like, dude, no singing, man.
Be right back. I got a dog thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think that's
When
the
the
last
guys
thing you
start
want is
singing,
some
I'm
guy
like,
coming in
no,
and just
dude.
singing.
If somebody plays Stairway, I'm fine with that. That's a hard song to play. If they're playing it right, I love to hear somebody playing Stairway. It's the 7 Nation Army tune that gets a bit much. And it's weird.
Which one's that? Is that Jack White?
Yeah. Every kid knows that one. But sometimes it's kind of refreshing. A very young person will come in and they'll start playing Wish You Were Here. Or a young person will come in and they'll play, Blackbird or something. And but sometimes, man,
I can't even play
kids
that.
come in here and they're shredders and their right hand is like so fast, and they chunk, like twice that fast, and then they're just like, and I'm like, God, I wish I could play like 1/2 of that, speed that they got. These kids got the fastest right hand that they can just tug on those. Yeah.
That's the
I can't
worst.
do that.
That's horrible.
And I have a hard time doing the chugging and stuff. But I also have a hard time with the every note that I play.
I'll do the Mully.
Is it downstroke?
Oh man, hang on, San Diego. Call back in a second. Here's the Mully. Mully used to do this. Can you hear this? Wait. There it is. That's the Mully version of Smoke on the Water. Mully. We miss you, Mully. You gotta come back. All right, San Diego, call back. We're getting phone calls.
Do it again. Do it again, man. I'll play the bass part.
Oh, okay, ready? 2, 3, 4.
Hold on, one time through, and then I'll come in.
All right, San Diego. We're taking calls from San Diego tonight, I think. How do we do this?
Yeah, Austin says this show really
Hey, now,
sucks. man.
knucklehead.
Hey now. San Diego.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Hello. Who do you know from San Diego? Come on, dude.
I don't know. Who do we know
Have
from
a new little baby named Black Betty. I showed you my new baby pictures.
Oh, this is Keith.
Duh.
Keith Campbell is here.
San Diego is a beautiful city.
Hello, everybody out there in the interwebs.
Keith. So hey, the only problem is I can't show your picture as I have you on the phone at the same time.
No shit.
Oh, you can't swear on here. Oh.
Oops. I'll send you $5.
Okay. Change the color of my blurry lights. Let me see.
Yeah.
All right. It says I missed.
I'll change it to brown.
Let me see. Man, we're getting a lot of texts
How you
tonight.
doing, man?
I'm great, man. We were jamming. We were playing
Yeah, badly. I heard.
Smoke on the
That I
Water.
called.
Yeah, that was fake, man. That
Yeah,
was.
you're starting to sound like me. I can't let you get up to my level. Yeah, I had to cut that off real quick at the bud. I get real jealous on everybody getting better than me.
Show us your baby pictures.
Let's see. So really quickly, tell us the story. Tell us the story about your guitar, and I'll try to show a picture of it at the same time.
Put fire in the sky.
Okay. Well, it's an Indonesian basswood with maple neck, bomber black,
Actually,
and it's
I can show it.
and all black hardware.
Let's see. I just saw it. Where is it? Basswood body. Here we go. There it is. There we go. Right. Uh-oh.
Somebody asked to see my baby. I don't know what they're talking about. Baby pictures.
Oh, really, Dave?
That's my granddaughter.
There you go. So you're looking at his baby, and you're looking at Keith's new baby right here.
Smoke on the water.
Cool. So how do you like it, Keith? How do you like it?
I like it. You know, I played that for a little while, and then I played the red one that was next to it. I liked the black one better. It felt better on the high end, you know, up by the trunk. And then I went to another record store or album or guitar store, and
It's blurry.
Guitar was Frankenstein. I'm like, holy shit, you know. And there are like maybe 10 decent guitar stores in San Diego. And that's aside from the cheese, you know, got the mash and a guitar set.
Mhm.
But the neck on that Frankenstein, oh my God, it fits my hand perfectly. Holy crap. I love that thing. I may go back and buy that this weekend.
Dude. Yeah. If you get it, let me know. Let me know. Let me see if I can find the. Is it okay if I show the picture of you with that one?
Oh yeah. You could any pictures I send you, you could share. Absolutely. You have my complete authority. If I ever send you a picture, you could share anytime.
Awesome. K-E.
Unless it's like a penis picture, don't send those.
Yeah, don't send
Or maybe
those.
Johnny's into that. I don't know. I'm not judging.
Yeah, don't judge. Oh man, I'm trying to find the. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, Keith Campbell. He just got a new Wolfgang. If you guys are wondering what's going on, and he's thinking about getting the new Frankenstein, similar to that one back there.
Yeah, but I still want to do a build too, though.
But you want to build one as well.
Oh, I already got parts together. You know, I
Mhm.
just got to get the neck and body. So I'm just about there. So I'm gonna after the holidays, I'm gonna tent off my patio area in my condo complex, make it into a paint booth.
You're missing the two most important parts now, the neck and the body.
And then I'm gonna paint everything off, and then
He can't hear you. Right on.
Paul's back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Dog pee situation.
So,
You
other than
missed
that,
us.
nothing else. You know, I'm just getting to know my little baby doll here.
Very cool, man. Yeah, congratulations.
What were we talking about?
Thank you. Thank you.
Keith Campbell got a
Yeah,
Wolfgang Indonesia standard yesterday,
Oh, cool.
and he's very excited.
So,
Very cool.
all right, I'll let you guys get back to your business. Thank you.
Thank you,
Keith,
man.
Colin.
Yeah, are you still here?
And hope
That-
everybody's doing well, and hope everybody survived the holidays well. And I need Paul to give Lemmy the ball.
Yes,
Right.
Lemmy gets the ball.
Love you guys. Bye.
She always gets the ball.
Yes. All right, Keith Campbell. There he was.
Yep, Lemmy always gets the ball. So what else did I miss? Did he show? Oh, he showed the Ernie ball.
Well, we were playing Smoke on the Water.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We played some music.
I don't know how to play that. True story. True story. That's not something I've ever learned how to play.
Oh man.
That is a very, very cool guitar with the roasted maple neck and the fretboard. The ebony on it is so beautiful. It looks like Rich Light. It's that clean.
Did I show you guys this last Tuesday?
Yes. That was actually the featured guitar last Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you, if you want to, you can Photoshop Mancuta's head on the thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
Just Photoshop his head over top of mine
Mm-hmm.
for the thumbnail.
Be the thinnest Mancuta's looked in decades. See there? John's not here. Zing!
His ears are burning somewhere.
He's working, which is not something you hear very often when talking about John Mancuda. So good for him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that movie.
I'm happy for him. You know, there's
Pretty
nothing worse
awesome.
than an actor who's not acting, except for a bad actor.
Yeah.
I'd rather have an actor not like if Pauly Shore never acted again, that would be a gift.
Mm-hmm. He sings. He has a band.
Okay.
They play music.
Well, good for him.
I mean, I saw a Pauly Shore brand new movie on Netflix only about probably 6 months ago, where he was the house guest. He lived out in the guest house, and he was a total stoner, and the people wanted to kick him out and couldn't.
It was a movie?
Good movie, yeah. Pauly Shore.
It was
Brand
new,
new
recent?
movie.
Was it filmed in
yeah.
Hawaii?
Didn't he do a movie called House Guest?
Yeah, house guest. Yeah, he lived
Yeah,
out in
but
the
wasn't
guest
that like
house.
40 years ago?
No, this was like last year on Netflix.
Are you sure this isn't an old movie?
Pretty sure. He looked
House
like an
guest.
old guy.
2020.
What happened in
Comedy.
the old movie? Oh, 2020. Yeah.
2020
Back
house
there.
guest.
Oh, Rock Daddy, settle down with Rich Light. Rich Light's fine. Rich Light is fine. There's nothing wrong with Rich Light. If nobody told you, you wouldn't know the difference. You can't hear the difference. If anything, Rich Light is actually more stable than any wood. Yes, it's a resin. For those that don't know what Rich Light is, it's basically strips of paper dipped in a polyphenolic resin and glued together in layers to make a fretboard. It's basically what Formica counters are made out of.
Yeah, Sinbad.
Yes, that's what I thought. Fret Level Midnight. House Guest was a movie with Sinbad and Phil Hartman.
You know,
Maybe it's
you
a-
can
maybe
only
it's a
name a
remake.
movie. It's just like a song title. There's only so many possible song titles that you can come up with, right? And so how many house parties are there? There's probably a dozen of them.
Well, now House Party's a totally different thing. Now you're talking about Kid and Play, son.
Guest house.
Kid and Plays, that house party, that first House Party movie was the barbershop of its moment. House
Yeah,
Party
that
was
was
a
good
fun
stuff.
movie. That was a fun movie. See, again,
Oh,
going
and
back
they
to
had
what we
the
were
old
talking
guy from Barney Miller. It was on that, right?
Ron
Oh
Glass.
no, that's the Bob. That's the Big Burger one.
No, they that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about us having lived through all of the great, musical moments. We witnessed the birth of hip hop too, and like all that whole House Party and Kid and Play and Fresh Prince and all the fun stuff that came with that, with DMC and break dancing. Remember when everybody would pop and lock and do the robot, and you would take a refrigerator box and put it down in a basketball court and try to spin on your hand and pull a groin. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I got a friend that can do that.
Yeah.
Pull groins?
Oh yeah, well, for a nominal fee. It was, look, we're spoiled. We're so lucky to have been able to go because it's all been done now. There's nothing new that can be done musically. We've heard it all. Gregorian chants all the way through to the most amazing digital music that can possibly be created. The only thing that's going to happen at some point is we're getting spammed by
Some sort of online clothing.
yeah, gone.
Weird.
Here, I just have to hide.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
Is that just the one, or is there more?
Oh, you got it hidden. I can't hide.
I think you can time out.
Yeah, I can time out. I can't hide. You
You
got to
can
give me
time
that
out.
wrench. You got to give me that power. On Tuesday nights, that's unlimited power. I should have that. Oh no, Rock Daddy, I'm not saying I don't love Ebony, but there's nothing wrong with Rich Light, especially given the fact that the Ebony supply is dwindling as we destroy the planet. See, that's political right there, Dane. That's how you go political without pissing people off. Is you talk about how we're destroying our own planet and that's fucking up the fretboard availability for guitars.
Yeah.
That's how you don't lose
I get it.
anybody.
Okay. I kind of like maple necks. I like a maple board.
Maple boards are snappier. They're snappier. They're a little bit better for shredding, although you can't tell that to Blackmore or Ingve. Rosewood, darkwood boards tend to be a little bit warmer and a little bit, more fragile. You got to do a little bit more work on them. Rich Light has none of those problems. Rich Light is stable. You can refret it and not worry about cracking the wood or the surface. I mean, it really is. You don't have to oil it. You don't have to clean it. But you know, it's like anything else. It takes a little while for people to get used to things. And until somebody makes a guitar with Rich Light on it that's desirable, and that's the problem, is there hasn't been a guitar that's become desirable. Yes, Martin has used Rich Light on some of their models, but not on the really big, expensive, like valuable ones. And when Gibson tried to put Rich Light on their guitars, the snobs, the cork sniffers went nuts. So it doesn't suck, James Stewart. Rich Light doesn't suck. It's just, you just don't like it. It doesn't suck. It's a viable fretboard. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, and in 50 years from now,
it's all going to be Rich Light.
We might have a different conclusion. Oh man, all my Rich Light boards fell off and deteriorated.
Everybody thought that, you know, when Bob Dylan plugged in, electric guitars were the scourge of society. You know, Frank Sinatra said Elvis was the scourge of society, and then the Beatles were the scourge of society because their hair was too long. And people are resistant to change. And yes, Jerry Wilson, Rich Light does look like wood. You put up a Rich Light fretboard. I only own one guitar with it. It's not something I would seek out, but if I want a certain guitar and it feels right and it's got Rich Light on it, that's not gonna keep me from buying the guitar. Oh, Doom Driver, I don't know what the next thing is going to be. I think when it's all said and done, everything has been done in music as far as styles. The next thing is going to be, there's things that's universal. No matter what style of music we're talking about, if you write good songs, people will gravitate to it. And that's why whomever is writing songs for Taylor Swift is doing such a great job. And Taylor writes some of her stuff, but my point being, great songwriting trumps everything. So the next big thing in music will probably be the ability to hear music without ears. When we can sense music, when we can get the brain to perceive music without hearing it and get that sort of cerebral response, the dopamine response that you get from hearing pleasant chord progressions with your ear. When we can figure out a way to do that, to get music to be, I know this is going to sound awful, but inaudible, when you can feel music in your brain without having to hear it or visualize it, that's going to be the next big thing that happens, because we've done everything stylistically. There isn't a style of music that hasn't been done.
I think there's going to be a few styles that's going to come along and something is going to happen eventually, a new style.
Yeah, like hip hop opera.
Sounds like the old
hip opera.
Hip opera.
Yeah.
But there already is hip opera. I mean, if you think about Hamilton is almost hip opera.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost, it's a hip hop interpretation. All right, Hamilton.
Yeah, they'll join genres together. I remember in the 90s, it was these rock bands wanted to have some funk going on. And as a bass player in the 90s, early 90s, dudes are like, dude, can you go bump, 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 bump? And nah.
Well, I mean, anybody that wants to play like Bootsy, Bootsy's the man.
Yeah. Metal, hip hop has been done. Everything's been done. But they'll find something that they can make new.
Not to sound like a dick, but music is finite. There are only 12 notes. There are only so many scales. I mean, eventually we can make a, three octave multi-scale guitar and a 28 string or 50 or 60 fret guitar. I mean, it's all been tried, but when it's all said and done, you've got 12 notes in the scale and, a finite number of notes, a finite number of keys. So the landscape upon which we can paint is finite. So you better come up with a good song. And again, because there are only 12 notes, eventually you start to see repetitive chord structures, which like, the Bo Diddley beat or the 12-bar blues and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it comes down to how good is your song? Oh, Leo, I know who Bootsy was. That's the point. Goes back to James Brown being better than Elvis. His
Yeah,
band was
Gent.
better.
Yeah,
Yes.
Gent is the new music.
What is it?
Can you gent? I don't know.
There's only so much, you can do when you have a finite landscape. Now we have to start thinking about what are the limitations of the human brain. That we don't know. That we say we've only tapped into the 6, 8, 12% of the brain's potential. So
Right.
somewhere out there's going to be a breakthrough in cerebral perception, and whatever the gateway is to get that, whether it's visual or by touch or by audible or by taste. Maybe there's music you can taste. I don't know. I'm just trying to, at some point, there'll be some other way that music will be consumed that affects us. And that's the next big thing.
But
When
it's
somebody comes
true
up with
about the
something new.
vocals. The vocals and the story of the vocals is
Sure.
always been the most important part. What's the guy singing about?
If you don't have a song, you have nothing. And that's why the Beatles are so fucking great, is because they had songs.
Yeah.
They have songs that are just unassailable. I mean, you listen to Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride is Times Like These from Foo Fighters. Almost same song, same concept, that melody, the way that guitar is layered. I'm not a huge fan, so I only bought their greatest hits, but you want to really dig into a band that was really good and I didn't really pay attention when they were out the first time, the Bangles. Super hot, that we all knew. But when you go back and you listen to shit like Going Down to Liverpool or Hero Takes a Fall, those songs are outstanding. Really well done, well recorded. The vocals are fantastic. The harmonies are very pleasing. I mean, really good songs.
I just remember they did Walk Like an Egyptian, and the one girl was smoking hot in that. But they used a drum machine. The producer or engineer or whoever made them use a drum machine. So the album, and that kind of pissed off their drummer. So the album after that, they went back and actually played like a band.
Sure.
But I think
and
the Bangles are the largest.
Good band.
I think they're the largest selling female rock band in history.
Well, yeah, they have the best selling. I mean, Manic Monday and Walk Like an Egyptian are the two biggest selling female singles, but the Go-Go's were the first band. Do I think Mitch Malloy would have been a good fit for Van Halen?
How much time you got?
No. Here's the fun.
Can I answer that first?
Sure, go ahead. Have at it.
Okay. I think if you were looking to replace Dave with another Dave type character, then I think having Mitch in the band would have been cool. If he probably would have fell right in line after singing the Roth stuff, right in line with trying to write the same, hey, party out behind the bar tonight style of music. And it probably would have, I think it probably would have done okay to stick right with the same flow that they were on. I think it probably would have worked. And watching those couple little YouTube videos gives you a little glimpse of, hey, how would it have been if they would have tried to pick a Roth clone to take over for them? It was probably pretty good.
And I'll give you the right answer.
Okay.
Mitch Malloy. I'm gonna start this off. I'm gonna try to be. This is the thing. Everybody thinks I have a problem with Mitch Malloy. I have a problem with what Mitch Malloy is doing. I have no problem with Mitch Malloy. Mitch Malloy is a good singer. He's got a good to great voice. He's got a fantastic look. Mitch Malloy is completely uninteresting as a singer. Completely uninteresting. Think Brian Howe when he was the singer for Bad Company. Adequate, does the job, nothing interesting about him. Nothing. There's nothing interesting. There's nothing unique about him. He brings nothing to the table, which is why he has never had a career. He released 2 albums under his own name on RCA Records. Neither one of them did anything. He put out a couple of independently released albums. Nothing did anything. He claims to, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, have auditioned for Van Halen. Didn't work out. He is now making a living singing Great White songs that he did not write and playing in a Van Halen tribute band on the side. And so the answer is no. Mitch Malloy would not have been a good singer for Van Halen because he brings nothing interesting to the table. He's Robert Mason without the voice. Robert Mason has a better voice than Mitch Malloy. And Robert Mason is a guy. Jeff Scott Soto is a guy. There are a bunch of guys. I can name you a half a dozen great singers who have had better, more substantial, more interesting careers than Mitch Malloy, who also would not have been the right singer for Van Halen. And that's my answer. It's got nothing to do with Mitch Malloy's ability to sing. The guy can sing. He's got nothing else to offer. He's not interesting in any way, shape, or form. That's my honest opinion about him. He can sing, and he's had he took a shot at a career, but he's had his shot, and it didn't happen.
And my answer is with Van Halen, it's either Roth or Hagar. Anything other than that,
It has to be.
the fans don't want.
You know, a great example of that, AC/DC. AC/DC had the Brian Johnson situation go down, and they grabbed an icon as a lead vocalist, and it didn't work.
Right. Yeah.
Queen decided after all those years to reunite, and they grabbed arguably the greatest living singer on the planet, Paul Rodgers, to sing for them, and it didn't work. There has to be something, and Paul Rodgers brought too much to the table. Paul Rodgers was so identifiable, and Axl Rose was so identifiable as an individual that the chemistry didn't click, and it goes back to what we were saying about the Beatles. Those 4 guys created something that doesn't just happen. What Van Halen did with Roth and what Van Halen did with Hagar has only been done twice before. AC/DC did it when they replaced Bon Scott with Brian Johnson out of necessity, and Genesis did it when they got Phil Collins to step in after Peter Gabriel left the band. The band went bigger, and I'll give you a third example: Steve Perry and Journey when he took over.
Yeah, I was about to say
those
Journey.
Those are the only 3 bands that have been able to pull that off and become bigger with their new singer.
But now when Hagar joined Van Halen, the first thing that I heard from them was all those guys on stage playing There's Only One Way to Rock. And I'm like, why in the hell are they guys? Why are they doing this? And I didn't become a fan until I actually heard the album 5150, and I started to hear the songs, and Alien or whatever came out. And that's when I'm like, okay, this stuff's good, man. I kind of dig it. And that's what we didn't get to hear from Mitch. If Mitch would have joined the band and we could have got over the first hump of them writing an album, and if we would have heard the end, it would have been even halfway decent, we would have been, okay, I'm on board with this stuff. But we didn't get that chance. We didn't get that far to see what he would do with an album with those guys.
Dane, Gary Cherone is a better singer than Mitch Malloy. Gary Cherone is a better songwriter than Mitch Malloy. Gary Cherone is a better frontman than Mitch Malloy, and it failed.
But because Eddie didn't let him actually write the songs.
What makes you think
Eddie was going and doing 6 guitar solos before the first verse came in and stuff?
Name a Mitch Malloy song.
I can't name any Mitch Malloy songs.
That's my point. That's my point. What makes
I'm
you
just
think?
saying
What
he's a
about
good
Mitch
singer,
Malloy?
and he didn't get his chance to write an album.
He
with the
wasn't
guys.
good enough.
You come up with a couple of good lyrics. You got Michael Anthony singing background vocals. It would have been
Gary Cherone
epic.
did that. Gary Cherone wrote fantastic lyrics. He wrote epic lyrics. And he has a better voice than
Gary
Mitch Malloy.
Cherone stuff. And from the start of his very first lyric, I don't know what he's just said. I can't hear what he's saying, what he's singing. I can't understand the lyric content on any of it.
You can understand what Mitch Malloy sings, right? but you can't name a Mitch Malloy song.
Well,
Because
no,
he's
but
got
when I
nothing. He
listen to
brings
him in Great
nothing to
White,
the
I'm like, holy
table.
shit, this guy's good.
No, he's not.
And when I
He's not
listen
good
to him
enough.
with the Van Halen experience, I'm like, hey, this guy's pretty good.
Well, that's because he overdubbed the vocals in the studio and then uploaded it after the fact.
Those recordings, they're
those are all
majorly
pre-recorded. They're all
majorly
overdubbed.
doctored.
Yeah, they're doctored and overdubbed. That's not him live. That's him in a studio.
That's not the
Well,
audience you're hearing.
Nope.
I'm
Nope,
just
that
saying
is-
I wasn't into Sammy until I got to hear the album. And so I don't know if I'm
But you've-
into Mitch or not into Mitch without hearing
Well,
what he could have done with them on the
Did you
first
listen to It's the Right Time?
Yeah, you were in the store. We played that for a minute. There was no guitar solo in the song. It wasn't structured right. It sounded like he took an old tape of Van Halen and sang along to it. But
Yeah, that's called songwriting.
but it wasn't structured the way he's like, wait, and he didn't have Michael singing harmonies with him, and then there was no guitar solo in the middle that just totally shreds. No, it was a small effort
No,
of
Edward Van
putting his voice
giving
on
Mitch the-
something.
giving
that
Mitch
already
the benefit of the
existed.
doubt. Giving Mitch the benefit of the doubt. Eddie Van Halen wrote a song,
Yeah.
handed it to Mitch Malloy. And by the way, none of this happened. Mitch laid these vocals on an instrumental that existed, but
Okay.
because it was a song called That's Why I Love You, which never made it to Van Halen 3. That's how good that song was. It didn't even make it to Van Halen 3. But the point being, Eddie wrote a song, a piece of music, recorded probably all of it, probably recorded the bass himself on it, and had Alex lay the drums down, handed Mitch Malloy, the quote-unquote prospective singer for Van Halen, a song. And that's what Mitch came up with. And nothing you said about it. The most important thing you said about it was the song wasn't structured right. There was no great guitar solo in it. You never mentioned Mitch's vocal performance on it. That's how uninteresting he is.
Well, it sounded
That's how
like
uninteresting he
it
is.
sounded like a very high voice that
Having-
probably would have worked really well with Michael Anthony. The two guys singing high stuff together would have came, the Ted Nugent band they had together for a while. Those two guys,
And I know there's no solo on that because it was an unfinished demo. That
right?
is what
Can't
that
judge
was.
him on that.
But having
Yes, you can, because you're judging the vocals.
having Edwards guitar solo on there isn't going to make you like the vocals any better.
It's not going to make
No,
Mitch
but it would
sing
have
any
made
better.
it would have made it a song. It would have made it more of a structured song than just a jam with him singing over it.
Amazing Grace is a fucking a cappella song, and it's brilliant.
They're telling
Hallelujah
me to surrender. Surrender.
Hallelujah is an a cappella song. It's great. You can't win this. He doesn't bring enough to the table. There's nothing you can do to defend him. If he were viable, if he were talented, you would know he was around.
What did Sammy bring
years.
to the table?
Sammy Hagar was he was selling out theaters.
He was Sammy
He had
Hagar.
already been on. He was Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar wasn't, now certainly contrary to what Sammy will tell you, he wasn't as big as Van Halen. But Sammy Hagar had a career. Sammy Hagar put out 2 phenomenal records with Montrose, even though they are under the radar records. They're great records. He did an amazing record with Neil Sean called Through the Fire from the HSAS project. And he had half a dozen records, 3 of which are fairly classic hard rock records from the 80s. I mean, 3 Lock Box, VOA, and Standing Hampton are great records. Sammy knows how to write a song.
How much of their manager was involved though? And the label, did Van Halen and Sammy have the same management team?
Not in the beginning, they didn't.
Together in the same label.
Not in the beginning, they didn't.
Dan, you should come back Friday because we actually talk Van Halen on Fridays. This is perfect for Friday.
Let Jay know he's coming so Jay shows up.
No, I band practice Friday. I appreciate the invite though.
I mean, Sammy is, despite being the second best singer in Van Halen, Sammy is talented. Sammy has a track record.
Technically, he was the best singer in Van Halen.
Yeah, but he's the second best singer in Van Halen. Yeah, I didn't say
I
didn't say he was the second best vocalist. I said he's the second.
How many times in the early Roth Van Halen days did everybody that went and saw the Van Halen boys was like, hey, you guys are really good, but your singer's got to go.
A lot.
It
A lot
happened
of
a
people.
lot.
A lot of
That's
people
what
did that,
happened
yeah.
to them when they were recording their first record.
And then Ted Templeman taught Roth how to do it right.
Okay, well, where was Ted when Mitch was writing his little demo that Ted Templeman was nowhere to be found? Let's say we get the Van Halen boys in the studio. We have Ted Templeman there with them. We have Mitch sing the first verse. And then we have Ted go, hold on, you need to repeat that line and you need to go to this pitch on that note right there. And then Eddie will be like, hey, that sounds great. And then I'll go right there. And then you'd have something in 6 months, they'd have a killer freaking album.
Well, I'm looking at the debut album. I'm looking at the debut album from Mitch Malloy in 1992. All right. This is his first album.
Okay.
You know who mentored Mitch Malloy? Johnny knows who mentored Mitch Malloy. One of the greatest songwriters of the modern day.
He was my mentor for a time.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
that's how I even know this whole thing. Yeah.
If Desmond Child, no offense, Johnny, if Desmond Child can't pull a hit out of you, you can't write a hit. No offense, Johnny. I'm not trying to be an asshole. The point is...
no. Well, no. But the project I was involved with, I was the guitar player. I wasn't
Right.
a songwriter. So.
But you know what I'm saying, Johnny. You've dealt with the guy.
I was there when he was writing. Yeah.
Yeah. If Desmond Child can't get a hit song out of you, you are incapable of producing a hit song. I mean, and this is the music business. Mitch Malloy is a career also ran. There are thousands of records released every year, and Mitch released some of them. Nobody knows anything. Shit, Desmond Child co-wrote a song on Mitch Malloy's first album, and it wasn't a hit. Desmond Child wrote a fucking song for Mitch Malloy, and he couldn't get a hit out of it.
I had no idea all of that happened.
Right, because Mitch Malloy is a career afterthought, which is answering the question as long-winded as we have, not the right guy for Van Halen under any circumstances. And yes, Metal in La, Jane Child was hot, super hot. Super hot. She had a hit song, unlike Mitch Malloy. She did. She had a hit song. Mitch Malloy isn't even Robert Mason. Robert Mason was on a Cry of Love record. Did it sell? Not really, but he's on it. Robert Mason was on a very good Lynch Mob record. Robert Mason is on a couple of Warrant records. Robert Mason is a better singer than Mitch Malloy. I don't know if he's a better frontman. He certainly isn't better looking, but Robert Mason is one of those guys. And I mentioned Jeff Scott Soto earlier, another phenomenal vocalist with a great look, who's a good frontman, who now has put out a couple of great records with Sons of Apollo, really good albums. Nobody cares.
Oh, right.
Nobody cares. Yeah, Jane Child, Don't Want to Fall in Love. God, she was fucking beautiful. Weird looking.
Well, it was fun to debate that a little bit with you guys.
Yeah, Robert Mason's a sick singer, fantastic singer. Just ask him. He really is good. He is good. He really is good. He lives here.
Yeah, I used to go up to the Martini Ranch on Sundays.
Yep.
And he had a cover band called Metalhead.
Yeah.
They were a Steel Panther style thing.
Yeah, they did the Steel Panther thing
And
before
they were
Steel
awesome.
Panther. He also had another band
Great
called
time.
Big Cock, which was funny. He was great. Robert's a
so
great
being
singer.
being the Phoenix guy, that's why he was able.
Jane Child.
Oh, come on!
Oh, Jane Child's hot.
What's the nose thing
she
for?
made that look work. You should see the body on her. She made that look
Throw
work.
down.
That's all there is.
Yeah, she's got this sort of post Madonna look. No, she was good. Jane Child was very talented. She does have a little bit of a
nose ring
Lennox
problem.
thing. A little bit of an Annie Lennox thing. Yeah, and if she sneezes, she could kill her. She could probably put an eye out. Yeah, Jane Child was.
No, I'm not really into the look, I guess.
Oh no, she made it work. If Wendy O. Williams, well, that's
her
not
back in the day. Did you meet
what?
her?
No,
Did you
I've never.
interview her or meet her or anything back in the day?
No such luck. Yes, Keith Campbell, Amy Mann, very similar look.
Oh, there she is now.
Now she looks better.
Yeah, she was great looking.
Well,
I don't figure out what Donnie's doing. Porcupine hair. Looks like she runs Bartertown. She is both master and blaster. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
She's done just fine. She looks just fine. That's her 30 plus years later. Still looks great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was her song?
Don't Want to Fall in Love.
Now that's a song we've heard of.
Yes, that was a hit song that Mitch Malloy did not write.
How come she wasn't in Van Halen?
She could have been in Van Halen. She was certainly more suited for it than Mitch Malloy. She at least has a track record of success. Again, look, if I could sing like Mitch Malloy, I'd fucking would, but I can't. Well, maybe I can.
You're a good singer, bro.
I might try. I might try to do a cover of It's the Right Time just to show that it can be done. If I can find Johnny, if you can find me an instrumental track of That's Why I Love You to sing over, let me know where I can find it. And I'll do a cover of It's the Right Time in my studio. And
Is there?
And there might be one somewhere.
What was that latest little comedy spoof song that you did the other day and you were playing it for me?
Oh, that was the Mitch Malloy Was Never in Van Halen song. Johnny has it. Johnny has it. I sent it to him. Hang on. Let me see if I might have it here.
People are really sick of Mitch Malloy.
I know. Here, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Johnny, I can do this, right?
What is it?
Well, it's tracks of that song that I sent. Have we been red flagged yet?
The vocal track would be fine. Just not the music.
I don't have the vocal track isolated. Oh, I might have it isolated. Hang on a second. Let me look.
Leo, my Adrian Smith is an Indonesian model. It's like a $400 guitar.
Let me see if I can find the isolated vocal track. That would be funny. I don't think so. What's today? Today is the 30th. Yeah, I don't have an isolated version of it, but I do have a bit of the finish. I'll just play a little bit of it just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Here you go.
Oh my gosh. All right, that's enough. All right.
Just say the words. We got the tune in our head now, Paul. What was the first lyric? Sing it to us.
There you go. Although I do have the money shot is here it is. Hang on a second. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
What was
Wow.
the first line in it, Paul?
Well, now his name is Mitch Malloy, and he was never in the band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now his name is Mitch Malloy, and he was never in the band.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So there's, That's he's
funny.
in Great White, although nobody cares.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's fun, and you got paid for that.
No, I just did it for the fun of it.
Oh.
I literally did it for the fun of it. I just did it because I was bored. Oh, here comes the criticism.
It's threat level.
That's fine.
Okay.
You
Hello?
can't-
Oh, hang on. Where's the speaker at? Hello, is this Mitch?
My name is Mitch. I wasn't in Van Halen.
There you go. Yep.
What's the
Yeah.
next line?
Yep.
Paul, what was the next line?
What? It was his name is Mitch Malloy, and he was never in the band, but he'll try to make a living by ripping off the fans. Now he tried to do his own things, but his albums didn't sell. A lifetime karaoke singer living in his hell or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was
Killer.
never was in Van Halen. He's in Great White, although nobody cares.
I love the breakdown in that song.
Yeah. So
Now somebody said, Mitch, Lord, strike that poor boy down.
yeah, if only Mitch would be honest about how he really feels about Eddie Van Halen. That would be fun. Yeah, Kurt 5150 loved it. You can't tell. Oh, here comes another call. You can't tell.
It's only
listening
hearsay
here in
now, my
studio.
friend.
Who's this one
It
from?
used to be once upon a time.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this Mitch?
Yeah, this is Mitch Malloy.
Hey man.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Unfortunately,
Nobody's listening.
Yes.
Hello. Everyone can hear me? Why did you hang up on me? Look, I was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have proof of it, but I was in the band. I'm getting tired of this. Neanderthal, I will girl slap you right in the mouth.
Oh my gosh.
This is nonsense. Don't hang up on me ever again. I'm Mitch Malloy.
yes, we know.
Do not ever hang up on me. Do you know who I am?
Nope, nobody does.
You know what? I don't need. I'm too big for this. I don't need this.
Outstanding.
Who was
Oh, my
that?
goodness.
Was that really Mitch?
I don't
Yes,
know who that
could have
was.
been. Yes,
I think that might have really been Mitch.
he had to go because somebody wanted fries with that.
Oh my
Again,
gosh. Animal style.
Again, Mitch Malloy released 2 more albums than I've ever released. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You win, Mitch. You win. And you're singing for Great White right now. Songs that were written by Jack Russell and Mark
And
Kendall.
that's not an easy gig, man. You got to be a singer to pull that stuff off.
Again, I take nothing away from his vocal ability, but just being a good singer isn't enough. There are lots of good singers out there.
No.
Lots of good singers out there. There are people singing karaoke in a bar right now in Oklahoma or Tennessee or Vermont that
Mhm.
are absolutely crushing it vocally.
Yeah. Like
On a
literally
Tuesday
right
night.
now.
Like
Like,
literally.
right this second, somebody
Yeah, on a
is singing
Tuesday
karaoke
night.
somewhere, and they should have been in an amazing.
Yep. There are people out there. There are people out there who can absolutely sing. Mitch is one of them. But
Mhm.
the record industry handed Mitch Malloy's Baby to the radio and to the record buying public, and they all went, no, thank you. Yeah, there's a great example. KXM Rock. Arnel Pineda is a fantastic singer. Name one song that Journey has written since he was in the band that's worth a shit. One. Nobody can.
Did they write songs?
Yeah, they've released an
I
album.
don't even
with Arnel.
know.
Yeah.
Although Neil Schon is following me on Twitter.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's the big news that I have tonight.
Better that he's following you on Twitter than following you in a mall.
He's a great guitar player.
And he likes Wolfgang guitars.
Fluent and
Which is
just
awesome.
coming up with the simple stuff that is just great guitar player.
Yeah.
Legendary guitar player.
I
And
mean,
he had his own signature guitar for a while. It might have been his own brand.
Schon.
Oh, yeah, Neil. Yeah.
Those Schon guitars.
Neil,
Yeah.
here's the thing about, again, Journey has found the secret sauce. The chicks love the songs because they sound very poppy, and they're sing-along, and they're very sensitive lyrically, and they're melodic, and they're well constructed because Jonathan Cain is a phenomenal songwriter. And Neil whips on guitar. Listen to the solos in like Faithfully and Stone in Love. And I mean, those songs are phenomenal. He's a great guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
And they found the secret sauce. Journey
To write lyric content like that, like Love and Touch and Squeezing, if you just write those words down on a piece of paper, you're going to be like, what did I just write? It's and to want to sing that style.
You are pointing
loving,
out
touching, squeezing.
You are pointing out the exact reason why Mitch Malloy is a career failure, because he doesn't know how to do that. He hasn't been able to take that idea and make it a viable musical property. Well, that's not true all day, all night. I believe Journey would have found somebody to sing for them. I believe they would have found somebody to sing for them. But Arnel Pineda is a great singer. He does all the songs the way they want him to.
Well, who was that guy they had in Journey for probably like 10 years?
The guy
they had
Well, Mark was it Fleischman, right?
They had a guy named Steve as well.
10 years.
And Steve Argieri.
They had a guy named Steve as well.
Steve Argieri, yeah.
Oh.
Hello. Is this Mitch?
Hey there. Larry Christensen.
Hey, hello.
Hey. I used to work with Mitch back in the day.
You worked with Mitch?
Really?
I did.
All right, let's stop right here and say allegedly.
I approve of everything what you guys are saying, by the way.
Did you write songs with him? Or
I don't know. Wait, I don't know. He can't hear you guys.
Oh.
Hang on. Okay, what is it?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, your show is kind of spot on. I've known Mitch since 1987. I sent you some emails.
Are you the one that sent me those pictures?
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a picture of Mitch and Edward together. Where Mitch's hair, he has no hair, his hair's like cut off. Right?
Yeah, that's me.
That was you? Okay.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, well then you are the authority.
Yeah,
tell us where we're wrong.
I was, kind of in the mix back in the day in 96. I was actually at Mitch's lake cabin when Ed called his phone number and left a voicemail. And I heard, from the horse's mouth, what was going on. But, and for the record, for whatever reason, Ed did tell Mitch, you're in the band. But all of us, in the circle, we all knew before that, it's like, yeah, this, that's not going to happen, right? Because just, Mitch's voice was just a match what was going on in the past, and we all knew that it was going to be hard to replace any other singer or the other two singers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of what Mitch is saying is true. But yeah, there's a little exaggeration going on here and there. But in '98, Mitch called me one day and he asked me, "Hey, you want to go see Van Halen in Nashville? Because that's where he's living." I'm like, "Sure." I had no idea that I was going to, have the opportunity to meet those guys. But when I flew into Nashville, it told me that, got a problem. I haven't been able to get hold of Ed yet. And I was like, what are you talking about? I just thought we were going to watch the guys. And that was it. But Ed called Mitch back, said, come on over. And we just got to spend the whole day with the band. And I saw how much Ed really liked Mitch. And it was amazing for me. But Ed truly, really liked Mitch as a person. But like I said, we all knew from the beginning was not going to happen. And Mitch even said that back in the day, But in my opinion, I see why Mitch is doing what he's doing. He's just
for money,
trying to make a living, kind of set some of the records straight. And, that's kind of the way it is. But it did have a lot of, or Mitch did have a lot of, meet a lot of people and some important people and big people that not too many people know about. But I agree, he shouldn't be out saying what he's saying. As soon as he started doing the stuff, I knew this was not, probably a smart move, but you kind of do what you got to do.
And you know him. You've known him. You said you've known him for years.
Yeah, he's from Dickinson, North Dakota, and I played the band with 3 people that he played a band with, in Dickinson, and got to meet him when I was 18, 19 years old. And I worked with him, helped him out for many, many years. And I just, like I said, I've known him forever.
Is it cool if I show that picture, the picture you sent me?
He posted it in the Van Halen 74 Forever.
So you saw it? You saw that picture?
I've got some other ones too.
Let me see, because I haven't. Yeah, you texted me like a week ago or a couple weeks ago. And yeah, I remember you sent me a picture. Let me see, you're 7.
And that's the thing. I don't think anybody doubts that he got the audition. I don't think anybody doubts that he jammed. The point being, though, James, and I don't know if he can hear me.
Yeah.
But
can you hear Paul talking? Do you have the video on? I guess you're watching.
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. So I don't think anybody denies that he had the opportunity.
Hang on one second.
Yeah, there's that picture.
So that's what, 98?
Sure.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So I don't think anybody denies that he had the opportunity. In fact, Eddie Van Halen does say we tried another guy after calling him a long-haired, blonde-haired hood ornament, and then basically says the guy we tried, it wouldn't work because music wasn't his. He wasn't a musical soulmate. He wasn't the right guy. He made it clear that Mitch Malloy was not in the band. He didn't make the band. And for Mitch to tell people that he was is an out-and-out lie. There's a good chance that Ed said, yeah, man, you're in the band. We're going to do this. But he didn't tell Michael that, and he didn't tell Alex that. And so it didn't happen. And Ray Daniels is on record, who was the manager of the band. Mitch allegedly submitted a letter to Ray Daniels, who was the manager of the band, saying, look, based upon what's gone on the MTV thing, I don't believe that this partnership will move forward, and I respectfully decline the position of lead vocalist in Van Halen. We can't move together, blah, 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 blah. And Ray Daniels' response was, I found that interesting that Mitch would send me that letter, considering he was never officially offered the position in the band. So when the band manager says that, when Eddie Van Halen says that, and when the other two members of the band, Michael Anthony says, I wasn't involved in anything involved with Mitch Malloy at the time, and Alex Van Halen just doesn't want to comment on it, which means it's probably one of the many disagreements that Ed and Al had that resulted in fistfights at 5150. I have to believe the source. Did he get the audition? I will give him the benefit of the doubt that he got the audition. I think most people would agree that probably happened. A lot of people have jammed with Eddie Van Halen in that studio.
Yeah.
Could Eddie have been forthcoming and said, yeah, man, I think you're the right guy for the band? Yeah, he could have said that, but it didn't happen. He wasn't in the band. And James, you just said it. We all knew, including Mitch, that it wasn't going to happen. So, I mean, that's really where it's at. So for Mitch to have been perpetuating this story and embellishing it in the way that he has is exactly what I take issue with. He's gone.
No, we're getting another call. What's your name again?
Larry
James.
Christensen.
Larry.
Larry.
Larry Christensen. Awesome. Did you probably didn't hear any of that, huh? Or Paul was
No, I didn't.
talking. Okay.
What do you? Can you relay the message?
Yeah, just basically say, let him know that, Ray Daniels refuted it. Eddie refuted it in an interview.
He was saying,
and Alex,
everybody has refuted basically what Mitch has said. I guess.
One more time.
Yeah, he's saying a lot of people are saying that it's what Mitch has said is what
it was denied by
it's a lot of
management.
words.
Basically, Mitch claims he was in the band.
Right.
Mitch claims that he was in the band,
and then that he refused the lead singer position
And that
and
he-
sent a letter to management.
and that he.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
That's the funny thing because Mitch called me. He would call me every night when he was at Ed's house and kind of just give me the recap, and that's what he said. But we all just didn't believe it because anything that comes out of Van Halen's mouth is usually not exactly what's going to happen. You see
Right.
that from the beginning, like they always lied about their age and this and that.
And so, relay this to him. Ray Daniels, when he got that letter from Mitch saying he didn't want the job, said that he found it was funny that Mitch thought the job was offered to him.
Paul is saying when Ray Daniels. Wait, say that again.
Ray Daniels,
Upon
upon receiving a letter from Mitch Malloy
receiving the letter from Mitch Malloy,
saying that he was going to refuse the lead singer position in Van Halen,
when he was saying he was going to refuse the lead singer position in Van Halen,
said he thought it was interesting considering he'd never been offered that position.
he said he thought it was interesting because he said he was never officially offered the position. That's what Ray said.
Technically, right?
Ray Daniels.
It was just Ed saying that. Like it was just Ed. In my opinion, it was just Ed trying to be nice. You know what I mean? Because he seems like he wants to be your friend, and I saw that he really was really liked Mitch, or else he would not have invited us to come over and do what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see it. I saw the how much he liked him, and I just think that's just the way he is. And because I was there, he gave me his guitar to play. He let me play the guitar like minutes before the show, and then he asked me
Wow.
came over to me. He's like, what kind of guitar do you play? And I told him. He's like, he asked me, do you want a Wolfgang? And I just fell over. And, he's just that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, he just, it's hard to explain, but he likes, I think he wants to be liked and likes to be liked and just doesn't want to. And maybe he was just keeping him on the hook in case Sharon, because I think Sharon auditioned after Mitch. I think. A long time ago now. But
Right.
According to the timeline, Sharon was hired before that.
Okay. Paul is saying, according to the timeline, Sharon was hired before that.
okay.
Sharon was hired before the the
I
MTV
don't
thing.
know who's got all that information because I remember the phone call was like the middle of August in '96, and like I said, it's been a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. And this,
But yeah,
this is the letter.
go ahead.
Oh, people are sending us the letter. There's a letter from September 11th, 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so that's the letter of Mitch declining the offer for the band, I guess.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I didn't know a lot about. He didn't really explain or keep me in the loop on that because that's really was none of my business. But like I said, I was kind of in the middle of all what was going on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of heard everything, but yeah, like I said, before I just, I did hear Eddie say to Mitch at one time, we could have made it work. And I wasn't really paying attention too much, but, of course like I said, Eddie wants to keep relations and especially with people he likes. And,
Eddie also said that in the Matt Pinfield interview.
people say things that sometimes they don't really mean, and
It's too blurry.
that's kind of the bottom line, But
And Eddie basically told Patty Smythe.
it was very
the same
interesting
thing.
that day because there's a lot of interesting people that walked into that dressing room and said hi. You know who Angie Everhart was? She was pretty much there hanging out the whole day. And
She was hot.
she'd be a good one to interview sometime about Eddie because I know she's a big Ed fan. And
Mm-hmm.
Who was she?
And, Angie Everhart.
Yeah, she's a red-haired model slash
She's a
actress.
model actress.
Yeah,
Used to be engaged to Sylvester Stallone.
yeah, she was pretty hot.
She's a redhead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Oh, I know.
She was
Okay.
probably the nicest person I ever met.
Oh, that's cool.
I will post a link to the.
Yeah,
the
she
Rolling
was
Stone
really
story.
cool. She spotted me in the airport the next day. Yeah, and I came over and sat down for 15, 20 minutes. And she was super nice.
There's the link to the article in the chat
Awesome.
for people to read. The Rolling Stone
There we
article.
go.
So
Cool. Cool.
by the way, that's the when you read the letter.
Yeah,
The letter
I
has-
wish you could hear what else is going on here because all I can hear is you.
Yeah.
If you read the letter says nothing about the inability for this thing to work because of commitments. It basically says Mitch would rather be a solo artist than be in Van Halen. because his solo career was way, way more lucrative and potentially successful than being the lead singer of Van Halen. Essentially, is what he's saying in the article, in the letter.
What I remember, I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I thought was very interesting, if you want to hear this or not, but
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm not sure if I'm talking over people or not.
Oh no. No, you're good.
The one thing I thought was very interesting was when we arrived, Ed was like a little kid. He was just so happy to see Mitch, hugs and kisses and and all the good stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, he's like, you guys got to meet Kenny Wayne Shepherd, because he was the opening act, and ran down to his dressing room and drug him back to Ed's, and was so we were kind of hanging out and talking for a few minutes, and he was so excited about just introducing him to us. But Ed never introduced Michael or Gary to us. Just, I never saw Ed ever talk to Gary or Michael the whole day, and we were with him for about 11 hours.
Oh man.
So it's kind of interesting. I never thought about that till years later.
Mm-hmm.
But
And this was 1998.
Yeah.
This was the Van Halen 3 tour.
98,
Right? Yeah.
right. Yep. And
remember,
either of those two
at this
really
time,
never
Eddie was
said much. They
fucked up.
didn't. I think those two had the same dressing room, and they never said hardly anything. They were very quiet, just minding their own business, just kind of stayed out of the way. And I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but I didn't think much about that till recently.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you spent 11 hours with Van Halen?
Yep.
Or with Mitch, and then with
Right.
the. So were you with Eddie the entire 11 hours?
We spent most of our time in Ed's and Alex's dressing room. That's where that picture that I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were there.
Which ones? What did you
for
send me?
hours
I
and
just
hours.
have that one. There are other ones? Let me
I sent you one other one that was at the hotel, but that was through email.
Let's see. Oh yeah, because I asked you what this was. Oh, this was like a week ago, or this was earlier this month. You sent me that picture, and then I asked you. I said, did you? I asked if you took these pictures, and then
Right.
and that's you. I guess there's a picture of you with Edward. I guess can I show that?
Sure.
All right, that's him with Eddie right there. And then let's see.
keep in mind, at this period of time in 1998, Ed was going through a really, really tough time with substances and issues. This was not the best place for him, emotionally or physically or health-wise. And that's unfortunate, because he played like a demon on that tour.
Yeah, I didn't send you all the pictures that I intended to. I've been kind of busy, and but I can send you everything that I got.
Cool.
Hindsight, I wish I would have took much more, because at that time they had those stripy little disposable cameras that they were selling at the merch stand, and
Yeah.
it's like, I had a nice 35 millimeter camera that it gave me crap about, because that's kind of funny. He's got a funny sense of humor, because I took pictures with, I have a an old Canon, or I had an old Canon 81 program in that I bought,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the mid 80s, but great camera. And you just look at my camera, like, wow, that thing's old. And like, yep, it's old, but it works good. And one funny thing is, he comes up to me, he's like, so where are you from? I said, well, I live really close to Fargo, North Dakota. And he's like, just kind of shakes his head and goes, good movie, and kind of walks away. And it's just kind of his sense of humor, you know.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty funny.
Fargo.
And
you live
yeah.
near Fargo? Do you still?
Johnny, I
Yeah.
got to tap out.
Okay. All right. See you, Paul.
Later.
See you, man.
Fargo.
Say that again.
Oh no, I've been around there. I had relatives around there. So growing up,
Really?
I'd been to I think Fargo or somewhere around there. I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mitch grew up in Dickinson, which is on the west side of North Dakota, and I'm like right across the border into Minnesota. And one thing that was interesting that we figured out back in the 80s is Mitch's mother and my family were actually related, kind of a little bit distantly, but
Uh-huh.
his mother grew up like 10 miles from where I live.
Oh.
But, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
But yeah, Ed had a pretty interesting sense of humor. And
Mm-hmm.
Alex was he was a storyteller. He would just sit there and crack jokes and tell stories from back in, 78, 79, and super cool.
Man.
He
That's awesome. That's awesome.
probably one of the things I remember the most is we had a couple of beers and it's well, I'm a northern boy and it's August in Nashville, so it's hot and humid, and that's not what I'm used to. And
Uh-huh.
so Alex goes after me, he's like, do you need another beer or do you want another beer? I'm like, no, that's fine. Of course I did, because I'm like dying from heat exhaustion, but looks like he goes, yeah, you do. And he gets up out of the chair and walks down to wherever, brings me back a Budweiser and a blue Solo cup and hands it to me. It's like, I can't believe Alex is, my personal bartender for the day. And that was crazy. So I did keep that can and cup, by the way, for, why wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, man.
Johnny, I'll see you next
Yeah.
week, buddy.
All right.
But yeah,
See you later, man. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Thanks, Larry.
Hey, it's Larry, right?
Right.
Larry, dude, do you want to pop on with us sometime, like on a Friday?
Sure.
We do a Friday show
Yeah, absolutely.
where we talk about, like, maybe this Friday, if you this Friday, if you want to actually jump on, and tell some more of these stories, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, cool.
Yep. I'll send you some more pictures. What's the best way? You send me your email.
Yeah.
Is that the best way?
Yeah. You can send
Okay.
them to that email address, and then you've got this number. So yeah, you can get a hold of me, and I think we're Facebook friends, right?
Yep.
I think I saw in the
Right.
conversation that we had added each other on Facebook. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Well, hey, sorry, I got to end everybody's leaving the show, so I got to. Let's continue this
Sounds
on.
good.
Let's say on Friday, like this Friday.
Yep.
This okay.
What time?
Let's see. You're Central Time, right? 8.
Right.
So for you, it's 10:12 right now. Ish.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. 5, 6, 7. So about 7 o'clock your time, Friday.
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll get a hold of you.
All right.
But I'll get a hold of you before Friday. We'll set it up, and you can jump on with us, and we'll talk. We'll talk more. Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
All right. I'll see you Friday, man. All right. Bye
All
bye.
right. Yep.
Man, that was craziness. All right. All right. We're gonna end the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching tonight. Thank you to Neanderpaul. Thank you to Dane Zimmerman, Zim's Guitars. Thank you to Larry that called in, old friend of Mitch Malloy's. He's going to join us this Friday. So Jay, if you're watching this, we're going to do a show with him this Friday. And then I think Kurt 5150 is going to be here as well. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Hang on. One more phone call. Hey, hang on. Hang on a second. Hang on. Hello.
I have a message before you end.
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, they can hear you.
You know what? I don't agree with everything that was said. Okay?
Oh, no.
I don't.
Uh-huh.
I just, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and show my talent. I've lived my life singing covers. All I've got, I had to steal. I mean, tell me that isn't talent. Get out of here. Go away.
That was pretty good. Okay, I don't know who that was. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And let me say thank you to our channel members. There they are, right there. Thank you so much, channel members of Johnny Beane TV. Thank you for all your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to Mike Neese for the Van Halen T-shirt and the guitar picks from Van Halen store. Thank you to our sponsors, Tessie Switch. Thank you to Swiss Picks. Thank you to FU Tone. Thank you to Vinum Pickups. And you guys, Mancuda will be back next Tuesday. Mancuda will be here. He's currently filming this summer's blockbuster, so look forward to that. Thank you, Keith Campbell. Robot Master Switch, you want to do some Twitch later? Let me know. You guys, follow me on Twitch, please. Please. All right. We'll see you guys Friday for Talking Van Halen, right? Yeah. I'll probably see you guys before then because I've got some reviews and stuff I'm going to do. But see you guys Friday for Talking Van Halen. We'll have a great show. All right. Rock on. Smash that thumbs up. And see you on Instagram. All right. Johnny Beane TV. Bye.